Go Pizza presents the Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wild.
Are you ready for the show that's already out of date?
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, like what?
Right.
Last show? Holy smokes.
Wow.
That was brutal.
Hey, welcome to this time of the year.
What even happened last show? What happened? There were trades and all kinds of silly things. The Drouin trade.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about that.
Oh, my God.
There's so much ground to cover. This one's going to be a long one. Mm-hmm. This was, I mean, you could already tell how long it's going to be because you were looking at the actual audio file. We're not. We don't know. But it's going to be long. We are going to start with the expansion draft today. There's a lot to unpack here. But what I've essentially decided to do for the show and for the sake of the show is we're not going to go through and pick. We're going to go through, I'm going to say, hey, Jesse, Steve, who did you pick? Okay. We've already pre-picked our teams.
Yes.
And then there will be a fair amount of discussion and debate about each. And it's funny. You could go through a billion different experts, analysts, and all of them have different picks.
Completely different takes.
And it's all about what you think Las Vegas's goals are. Now, I think it was hilarious that yesterday George McPhee told NHL teams that it was the last day to complete a trade to protect their players.
I think it makes perfect sense. If you ever watch his interviews, like I watched one that he did, reporter Chris was in a scrum in Vegas, when McPhee said that thing, like, our deadline is today. And when he says it out loud, it sounds fine. It sounds civilized and friendly. In print, it reads like a mob boss.
Demonic. Yeah.
We are taking from your team.
But what I love,
George McPhee.
What he did say was, we're not going to take from your team without talking to your team. So you know that they've spoken to every single team in the National Hockey League.
But you can tell there seemed to be some frustration in his voice a little bit. Like, basically, look, we have to take someone from your team. If you haven't worked out a deal with us by now, that's just too bad for you. Like, these are the rules.
I'm sure there's some GMs that are upset about that and that will hold grudges about this.
Well,
against George. Even though those are the rules and we've known about them for a year.
Exactly. No, we've known about them for a year.
Listen, Mr. Benning.
Yeah.
Okay?
I was going to say, he knows. Well, it's funny. Oddly enough, he's one of the GMs who's done.
He's done pretty well.
One of the best.
Literally
when it comes to this draft, but
yeah.
Should he be given the credit? If your team is just bad,
there's no one to take.
I'll tell you who I think did one of the best jobs.
Okay, we'll run through. We're going to run through here. We're going to start. And here's the thing: as we hit specific teams, I'm going to talk about certain deals that apparently have gone down. So we're going to start with and let me just pull up the expansion draft tool here because I've already done my draft. I exported my team. You could see it. However, when you export your team and it's set in stone, it doesn't show them in order by which they are picked.
Oh.
So
no, mine doesn't do that either.
Right. Oh, no? Okay. Well,
so that's why I just go to the draft team page and scroll.
That's what I'm trying to do right here. So we're going to start with...
Shout out Cap Friendly, by the way, who I think they would just cancel the expansion draft.
Their site traffic right now must be just crazy.
If you're them, though, how are you making money? Like, I don't see any ads.
I got an ad.
Yeah,
I got an ad right here.
You probably have ad block on your Chrome extension. Yeah.
Way to single-handedly kill Cap Friendly.
Everybody go on Cap Friendly.
You piece of garbage.
They didn't ask me. They didn't ask me to turn it off. So I didn't know. All right. Anyway, let's start with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
Not the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Let's not start with them. Let's start with just the Ducks.
So this is an act of futility.
Right, because here's the deal thus far that we know about. Anaheim will send a first to Vegas to either stop them from getting Josh Manson or Sammy Vatanen. Some people are saying both. I highly doubt that. I highly, 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 highly doubt that George McPhee allows them off the hook on both of those guys.
I think he would, purely for the reason of what if you're the Ducks, you know you're going to lose one of them. Why are you giving up a first? Just lose the one guy and be done with it. If you're going to give up a first.
Oh, but Steve, they're your guys.
Well, this is the thing.
And they're already NHL players, which there is something to be said for that.
There is something to be said for that, but like the Ducks have other guys down the pipeline. I don't see a reason why they would need to dump these guys. Unless maybe they're giving up like a Clayton Stoner as well. Dumping Clayton Stoner.
Which... I don't know if you've looked into Clayton Stoner's contract or Clayton Stoner's numbers. How did that ever happen?
It's a great
question. How did that deal ever happen?
I asked myself that question for at least one player in almost every team.
If I'm correct in this, I think his career high in points is 10 in a season.
I can look that up because I brought my laptop.
And I believe they were 10 assists in the lockout shortened year. I believe.
Clayton Stoner. Career high 10 points. Jesus, even 24 was his career high in the AHL. And in the lockout shortened season with the Minnesota Wild, he had 10 assists.
$3.25 million he makes.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
Yikes.
Anyway, Anaheim. Okay, so you think Anaheim will protect both Vatanen and Manson?
I
with
think
this
they'll
pick?
be able to protect both. So I picked Emerson Edom just because who else am I going to pick?
Okay.
Like it really doesn't matter. That was the one pick I threw away. When I arrived in the studio, I had two teams that I didn't pick from, and they were both teams who I knew had a deal in place. So Emerson Edom just to throw them in.
I chose Sami Vatanen because I don't think that first pick is going to cover them both. I just
enough.
don't think, because if I'm George McPhee, I'm going, they're both worth the first pick. So which one?
Well, supposedly they're not that high on Vatanen, so maybe you give up a first,
Plus.
losing Vatanen, even though you're not that high on him, he's good. Plus,
he's
Clayton
injured.
Stoner. Yeah.
I
he's
picked
injured.
Emerson Eden as well, because I believe it'll be a deal where they package a pick and a guy.
Yeah.
Where they don't lose him.
A guy.
Who is a RFA, so he may turn into nothing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just to be different, if I had to pick different from Vatanen, a guy I might look at is Dustin Tokarski, and you might laugh at me for that, but you still need ECHL and AHL goaltenders, right?
I agree with that mantra. I disagree with that pick, and you'll see why.
Well, fair enough. Arizona, the Arizona Coyotes.
Yes.
If any of you picked Shane Doan, I laugh at you hilariously.
I did.
Who did you go with? Because this one was a harder one. They are well protected. They're a young team.
They have a lot of exempt guys and a lot of not good guys.
Well, and the thing that you have to watch is that there's so many UFA contracts, and Vegas has to pick. I believe it's 20 contracts, 20 actual contracts for next year.
So my team, I actually had a difficult time the first time I picked my team. I had a difficult time getting to 14 forwards, actually, and I had a difficult time filling all my contract slots. I'm sitting at 22 right now. I picked Alex Burmistrov.
Really?
You know what? He had a really good back half of the season after the Coyotes
brought him back,
claimed him off waivers from the Jets. I think he can play.
And he's a center.
Well, he's listed as a center. That was my biggest struggle making this team, was finding certified full-time centers. And that's probably going to affect my picks for the rest.
Producer Jesse.
I picked Timo Pulkkinen.
He was the guy I considered,
25 contracts like nothing, and he's an RFA, so you just let him go.
Yeah.
See, I like
two waiver wire pickups, by the way. We have Burmistrov and Pulkkinen.
I also picked Pulkkinen. I think I believe I had to look at his hero chart, and I think aren't his defensive numbers really good? I looked at a lot of players.
Well,
so
he had a bad season last year.
Yes, but I think his shot suppression is pretty high.
I'm gonna look that up.
But he played 13 NHL games last year. So
okay, well that would be probably why
his stats don't really matter.
And you know what? I can't even remember because I went through so many damn players.
Yeah, so I'm looking at their side by side right now. Pulkkinen definitely looks way better than Burmistrov on this chart.
But the numbers are based on 13 games.
Yes, and also I think Burmistrov had a really good second half. He was bad with the Jets. There's too much to look at. There's just way too much to look at. I picked Burmistrov. Who cares?
Boston Bruins.
Yes, this one was interesting, and I actually gotta look my guy up. Shout out to ownthepuck.blogspot.ca. That's where you get these hero charts.
And they are fascinating to go through.
They are fascinating. They're not the be-all, end-all, and I'm sure they would tell you that as well. But they really helped me pick my team. My guy from the Boston Bruins, and this is why I say centers are going to be Vegas's biggest problem, was yet another defender. Like, I think Vegas's defense is going to be pretty good.
Me too.
I picked Colin Miller, actually, from the Boston Bruins. He's only got a $1 million cap hit, which is pretty wicked for a full-time defender. You know, we ripped Matt Hunwick a lot last season, but for $1.2 million full-time NHL defenseman, yeah, I'll take that. He's an RFA at the end of next season, and his hero chart is bomb.
Yes, it is.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good shot generation, shot suppression, and he played 60 games last year, so if there's any red flags with him, I don't know what I'm missing.
Jesse.
I took Malcolm Subban because I don't know how you can pass on, hey, you might have a guy who could be your goalie for the next 15 years.
I picked the team 2 days ago, and he was my pick.
So, yeah. Malcolm Subban.
I picked Colin Miller for the same reasons. Malcolm Subban was another one that I was like, oh, man, what do I go with? But because there were other talents available, I don't know whether they'll be... like I don't...
Not as young.
Not as young.
And not for as many years as you'll get him, because he's an RFA, so you'll have him for another 3 until UFA at least.
Yep. So he's a smart pick. I made a pretty off-the-board pick to offset that, but we won't get to
All right, so
him for a while.
So I picked Colin Miller there just for the same reasons. I think strong, steady defenseman, cheap price, easy.
Yes.
Buffalo.
Well, one of the young guys to offset Subban, and not nearly as high of a ceiling, obviously, but 23-year-old goalie, 2 years left, $750,000 cap hit. Good, can be in the AHL. His numbers weren't that amazing there, but I don't think the team he played with was great. And then when he got called up to the NHL, he was pretty good. Linus Ullmark, or however the hell you say it.
Probably somewhere in there.
I think he's going to be really good. And like you said, you need some AHL depth. I think he's good. So I went with him.
Producer Jesse.
I also picked 5 goalies.
I did too, actually.
I took 6 goalies.
Wow. I think they're going to trade at least one.
Trade all those goalies.
And I would trade one of 2 guys, but we'll get to that.
I took Zach Bogosian because I wanted the cap hit, first of all, and he'll be there for a while, and you get a second pairing defenseman.
So let me ask you this. Did you struggle to meet the cap floor?
No, I got a really nice number. I got $63 million.
Oh, so you didn't need the cap hit then?
But I wanted it. Just to make sure, so I can go through, because this was early on. We were at Buffalo, and I was like, okay, I'll take a $5.1 million contract, and then I can pick a whole bunch of guys who have nothing.
So my original pick in Buffalo was Linus Ullmark as well, for the same reasons. But I got to the end of the draft, and I'd picked 6 goalies. So I went back through, and I was like, okay, 6 goalies might be a little bit much. Maybe we can cut one. So I ended up going with Justin Falk. And the reason is Justin Falk is not terrible, but he's also a $650,000 cap hit, which is cheap. And knowing what we know about what the Islanders and Columbus, and we'll get into that, are throwing in terms of contracts Vegas' way, you are going to need a little bit of room. And you also want to leave a little bit of room, which I think we all will still have, for the trade deadline when people want to shed bad contracts to take on other people that they want to gear up for their run for, right? I think Vegas will take that extra cap space and take your terrible dead cap space for the end of the year if you send picks their way, so you can go out and get the player that you need to fit under your cap.
Vegas, I mean, they obviously start with a total lack of prospects, but I think they're going to have a crazy amount of picks.
They might be a really good team in 5 years.
The next. And less than that, I honestly don't think Vegas is going to be bad that long. I really don't. If McPhee is smart, that is. Bogosian, by the way, according to Own the Puck, it looks like he's somewhere between like a second and third pairing defender. Asterisk, he's been on Buffalo. Other asterisk, he's maybe contributed to that.
Right.
Also, side question. Are you guys trying to suck, or are you trying to be good?
I'm trying to get a team that makes sense. So it's a combination of both. It's young. Chris Johnson nailed it. I saw he did an interview with Caroline Cameron. They're going to struggle to score goals. Keeping them out, I think, will be the least of their worries. I think they have what it takes to maybe be a middle-of-the-pack, even top-half defensive team. Scoring goals is going to be miserable for Vegas. I don't know how they're going to do it. They're all the KHL guys they get. Shipachyov, supposedly Evgeny Dodonov might sign with them. They need to score. They need to score some goals.
So you picked with Calgary. Who'd you go with?
So Calgary was an interesting team. One of the exercises I was kind of asked to do by Sportsnet.ca was select a team that was entirely guys I could flip. Troy Brouwer, all these Flames fans were like, please pick Troy Bauer. Not going to pick Troy Bauer. That contract sucks. Making $4.5 million until 2020. No, thank you.
Wow, that's a bad deal.
Matt Stajan was a guy I considered. 33-year-old full-time defenseman, $3.125 million cap hit. But just next season, you can maybe flip him for, I don't know, a fifth or something at the trade deadline. I looked at Matt Bartkowski because he's a really cheap defenseman, UFA at the end of next year. What team isn't going to want that at the deadline? But I went with 22-year-old center Hunter Shinkaruk because why wouldn't I want 22-year-old center Hunter Shinkaruk? He's listed as a center too. I don't know if he's another one of those guys where I don't actually know if he's going to be a full-time center in the NHL.
Jesse?
I did the exact same thing.
And that makes 3.
Yeah.
We have full agreement, Hunter Shinkaruk. The reason
Is that our first one?
I think so.
Yeah.
We all agree, yeah.
Nothing else really made sense.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and Hunter Shinkaruk
Bartkowski,
is a guy you have to think there's a reason. Was he not drafted very, very high?
Yes. Oh, he's a first rounder for sure.
So, you got to think that there is some sort of skill set there for that to be the case. And you want to have guys like that who maybe are just struggling to get ice time, who maybe are struggling to get attention. And for a centerman coming into a team like this, there's a real opportunity.
Yeah, Hunter Shinkaruk, 24th overall in 2013. He's 22 years old.
Who was he drafted by the Canucks? No.
Yes.
okay.
Drafted by the Canucks,
And was
traded to the
traded for
Flames. We
Barchi?
ripped on him for a long time. No, I don't even think it was Berchi. It was Granlund, but not the good one.
Oh.
That one.
The not good
that,
Granlund.
that little
Yes.
trade.
Yeah.
He'll be 23 at basically the beginning of next season. I think Vegas should give him a shot to play on the team.
Who do we like in Carolina?
They're a team that I think is actually pretty well prepared. I'm not interested in their goalies. Cam Ward's too expensive. Eddie Lack had a terrible season. Yeah, maybe look at Daniel Altshuler in net just because he's really young. But the guy I took was Lee Stempniak. His possession numbers are good. His production's still good, despite the fact that he's 34.
His hero charts are good.
His hero chart's great.
Yeah.
He makes $2.5 million. UFA at the end of next season, so he's perfect trade deadline fodder. He's been traded 3 times in the last 4 years. Last year was the first year he hadn't been traded in 3 years. He's just perfect. He's the perfect stopgap. You got to kind of look at Vegas not quite, but a little bit like the Leafs of 2 years ago, where you get guys like Parenteau, and who's not a great example because the Leafs didn't manage to trade him, but maybe Grabner, who the Leafs also weren't able to trade. Sean Mathias. Just all these guys who can be the Spartans that are making their last stand on Halo Reach. Trying to protect Master Chief.
Lee Stempniak may have a couple contracts left in him if they're 1-year deals.
Oh, for sure. He's great. No, he's not a bad player at all. And I wonder how we would have thought about him in Toronto if we
had
this information, a few years earlier. No, he's a good player, and so I took him.
Producer Jesse.
I wasn't really sure who to pick here either, and I needed to fill a defenseman slot, so I just took Klaus Dahlbeck for some depth D.
Loves the D.
Loves the D.
Yeah.
I also chose Lee Stempniak because I think Lee Stempniak is a 3rd-round pick at the trade deadline.
Oh, more than that, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And that's
second rounders. It's chicken.
There's a lot
There you go.
there's a lot of guys that I picked here that I'm like, okay, tradable.
Yeah.
Tradable. And 1 year left on his deal,
Yeah.
which I love. I love
Yeah.
that. Because here's what you want to do again. If you're Vegas, this year and next year, you want to be taking on some contracts that are about to expire that teams want to get rid of now, not next year. And they want to give you picks for them. That's what you want to do.
A recurring theme with my team is there is absolutely no need to go expensive or long-term. No need.
Now, Chicago's interesting because the rumor is, this is the prevailing thought, and I don't know if this deal's happened, but this is how I looked at it.
Yeah.
Kruger and Van Riemsdyk, so they give...
it's both of them.
They agree to take on Kruger, which I believe that deal's already been placed, that's happened, and Chicago allows Van Riemsdyk to be taken. So it's you take Kruger's contract and we will give you Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
I just don't understand what they could have done. Like, maybe it was, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to trade Van Riemsdyk to somebody else. Maybe that was the threat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe they look at Kruger and go, he's a centerman. And he's 27, and he's got 2 years left at $3 million. That's not a big deal for us.
Yeah, so I picked Kruger because I know he's going to Vegas. A little bit overpaid, but holy smokes, Vegas needs centers in the worst way. And he's one of the only ones I got on my team.
Yeah.
So I think he's actually a pretty good fit.
So
in
it's kind of a set thing. We already know it's going to be Van Riemsdyk and Kruger, so we all sort of have to pick that. Although you can't pick both. So anyway, we'll move on. Colorado. Interesting names on this, like the fact that Carl Soderberg is making $4.75 million until 2020.
I didn't even look at him.
I didn't know that was his deal. Wow.
This is one of the few teams that has several centers available for a team that desperately needs centers, and I completely ignored them.
Yeah?
I ignored Soderberg, Colburn. Looking at the list, I probably should have considered Mikhail Grigorenko. Oh well.
You've done this like 18 times, so
yeah. My pick was Mark Barberio on defense. 27 years old, had kind of a breakout season. $750,000 cap hit. UFA at the end of next season again. Vegas is hard. The hard thing with Vegas isn't going to be icing a team in their first season. It's going to be icing a team in their second, because you can trade so many people at the deadline if you want to. And that might be something else that they consider that I kind of ignored when I picked my team, is not everyone is going to re-sign with you. So if you pick 15 guys or something like that who have an expiring contract at the end of this upcoming season, you might not be able to ice a team in season 2.
You'll always be able to ice a team.
Yeah.
It's a matter of what quality. And I don't think they care.
I do, but I don't know. I picked Barberio.
Okay. Jesse.
Joe Colburn, need a center. 27.
Yep.
Good pick.
Good logic.
At the end of the next
I
year.
picked Calvin Pickard. I struggled with both of those because Barberio and Colburn are both, they're solid, right? They're just they're depth guys. But I picked Pickard because I think A, he's 25, B, he makes $1 million, and there are so many teams looking for a backup guy. And I don't know that Calvin Pickard isn't a starter in the NHL. I mean, he played really well at the World Championships. People seem to be super high on him all of a sudden.
The bummer with Colorado is everything is skewed.
Yeah, hard to know.
So bad. They were so bad.
But people are looking at that and going, he's one of the bright spots. If he's one of the bright spots on a bad team, why not give him a shot? It's a year.
My problem with Pickard, looking at his numbers, like I basically ignored his numbers because, again, Colorado. But I'm like, okay, is your argument with him it could have been worse? Like, because if that's the case, that's not that strong.
I don't think that's the argument. I mean,
No?
I think you look at how he played behind an actual team, which Nathan McKinnon called an actual team, Team Canada. He played great.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not expecting him to have a 940 save percentage like he had in that tournament. That's crazy.
Yeah, or 909 like he had in the NHL, something like that. I think it was even worse.
It's bad.
But it was Colorado.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, give him a shot. It's $1 million. He's 25 years old. Right?
Totally, I get it. I didn't pick him, but I get it.
Next team, Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, there is a trade of note here. So here's
kind of weird. I had 5 goalies and none of them were Pickard.
That is funny.
And I wrote for like a month or two how they should pick Pickard. Oh well.
Columbus has some sort of deal, where they're trading their first round pick and a prospect as a part of a deal to not only protect a handful of players, and those players are Josh Anderson, Jack Johnson, Jonas Corposalo, and David Savard.
You're on drugs. The Blue Jackets are on drugs.
So they want to trade picked prospect, but they will apparently be able to offload the insured contract of David Clarkson, meaning Vegas picks him up and puts him on LTIR, but does not actually have to pay for the contract. Also, they are pushing Vegas to select one of what was supposed to be 3 guys, but one of them ended up being protected, which was Ryan Murray, Matt Calvert, or William Karlsson.
Ryan Murray made no sense to me when I first read it, and Calvert made some sense. His numbers aren't fantastic at all. Karlsson made a ton of sense to me. Now, this is another reason why I picked a relatively cheapish Vegas team. I don't know how much money this team has in money.
Yeah.
I think they'll be
What's
fine
their cap?
for cap space. It's the amount of actual dollars they're going to spend. So supposedly they're picking up Clarkson's contract. There's another rumor that we'll get to that involves them picking up Mikhail Grabovski's contract. Mm-hmm. And who knows who else they're going to pick up in like kind of dead cap. Jesus, are these guys going to spend like $100 million like the Leafs
But those
did?
contracts are insured, remember, so they don't pay for them.
Oh.
That's why the Leafs taking on Horton was a big deal, because the Horton contract somehow was uninsured, and that meant that Columbus was actually paying for him, and they would rather have a guy making that kind of money playing for them. But then Clarkson got injured to the point where he's not coming back, and insurance takes over at that point.
Okay. Well, that's interesting then. Okay, so that's different. I picked William Karlsson, 24 years old, $1 million cap hit, had a decent season, center. And my other option was Matt Calvert, so no.
Jesse.
and Jack Johnson, absolutely not.
Yeah, it was either pick Calvert or Carlson, so I just picked Carlson.
Yeah.
So here's my asterisks on this team. Okay. I would pick Karlsson as well.
Okay.
Just because he makes less and he's younger.
Yeah.
However, I don't believe that deal. You're taking on Clarkson, a first and a prospect, right?
And you get Carlson.
And you get and you have
Yeah, that's confusing to me. Are they getting 4 things or 3?
I don't. That's
Is
what I don't
Karlsson
know.
the prospect?
I don't know. But to me, David Clarkson's contract and David Clarkson's LTIR, which I believe there's still 3 more years of.
I think it might be more. Yeah.
It's a 7-year deal, right?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
So we're talking a long, long time with that contract. And if you have bonuses, like say you get an Austin Matthews type player, and it's very possible that Vegas will have an Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner trio eventually, because they're going to have a lot of draft picks.
You're going to have 18 first-round picks.
Yeah, exactly. So chances are they're going to run into some sort of trouble somewhere along the line with bonus overage, right? If they've got Clarkson's contract on the LTR. My thought was, okay, so if I'm Vegas, I'll take your first, and I'll take Clarkson's contract, but I'm also going to take one of your young goalies. And it's not going to be Korpisalo, it's going to be Forsberg.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So I picked Forsberg, but I'm more than willing to, if they said, hey, no, that's not the deal, I would go with Karlsson.
I don't know much about Anton Forsberg. What's his deal?
From what I understand, it's like a 1-2 with Korpisalo. And Forsberg is an RFA, so he's not actually a contract anyway. So you bring him into camp, you see what he is, and if he's nothing, he's nothing. But then you're not paying him. He's
only played a handful of games in the NHL. He struggles in those games, but his AHL numbers are pretty encouraging.
That's what I looked at, and I thought,
dating back all the way back to 2013, even. Interesting. Yeah, maybe.
And maybe he's an AHL goaltender, but at least you have you need that, right?
You do. I have a backup plan for that.
Okay.
So, yeah, those were 2 guys I beat the drum to take for a long time. Pickard and Korpisalo. I still pick 5 goalies, and I picked neither of them.
Well, you can't pick Korpisalo, apparently, anyway.
Well, because they have some kind of deal.
If Columbus is telling you to stay away from guys, is the compensation enough that they say you have to pick these 2? Because they're telling you to stay away from 4 guys, and then they're saying also you have to pick between these 2 guys.
Good question.
I don't know what it is.
You know what
Especially
an
with Clarkson's
enormous
deal.
strength is that Vegas has? So I've picked a team here. I've drafted 30 players, 22 of which are under contract. Let's assume I get all 30 under contract. That would be my hope. I only picked 1 UFA. Plus, I think Vegas has 3 guys signed. So there's 33 players. Let's say they sign another 7 in free agency. They still have 10 roster spots left. A team who's maybe
But
close
if you
to
sign a guy in free agency,
yeah.
You have to give the other player back, don't you?
No.
That's only in that window.
Yeah,
Oh.
so after the expansion draft,
You're just good.
yeah. So, like, for example,
That's great. That
Leafs-
actually adds to my plan.
yeah, Leafs could lose Leipzig, and then July 1st hits, they sign Brian Boyle, for example. Guess what? You just lost 2 guys. And there's nothing you can do about it. Too bad.
Okay.
So if a team is close to the 50 contract roster limit, like the Leafs were this past year, I don't remember exactly how their situation shakes out this year.
It's still pretty close.
You should definitely approach Vegas and be like, look, what do we got to do? Because you got 10 spots, we got 1. How do we solve this?
Right.
Vegas might even have more than 10 spots. Who knows?
Okay. So let's move on to the Dallas Stars. No deals in place from what we understand. Who are you picking?
Well, okay, so we talked about the total lack of centers that they have. So I saw a lot of people taking Cody Eakin
3-goal scorer Cody Eakin.
Yeah. Do you want?
I don't think so.
No.
Not at 3.85.
No, and he's too old to be a prospect anymore. You got to kind of take the training wheels off and treat him like a big boy here. Like, I'm looking at the hero chart, which, again, is not the be-all, end-all, but whatever. He's not quite a third-line center. Let's go down to fourth-line center. All right, he's roughly a fourth-line center, sort of. So are you going to spend $3.85 million until 2020 on a fourth-line center?
No.
Hell no. So look at some of their...
helping Dallas. At
Yeah,
that point.
exactly.
Yeah. Am I going to pick...
They should be paying you a first-round pick if you're taking that guy.
Yeah, you should get something for Cody Eakin.
I'm not taking one of their ridiculous goalies unless you give me some kind of wicked deal. And even then, like, God, they just don't need them.
Why? Why take that?
They have... One thing Vegas will not need is goaltending. And they don't need to take your shitty goalie. So I picked Dan Hamhuis. Dan Hamhuis. 34 years old, 1 year left on his $3.75 million contract, and he can still play. I think he's perfect. Vegas will do what the Vancouver Canucks should have done, which is trade him at the deadline.
I took Greg Pateryn, the younger Dan Hamhuis.
That's a guy I consider.
Dan Hamhuis.
Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my goal.
So the reason I took Dan Hamhuis, and I like what you said there, Jesse, the younger Dan Hamhuis is Greg Pateryn. I took Dan Hamhuis because of this. He's a tradable. He's the guy you trade, right? Clearly, he's the guy you trade. Who's going to get you more at the deadline? And sometimes it just comes down to star power in a name. Did Hamhuis not play for the Olympic team?
I think he was considered for it.
Yeah.
I think, yes, 100%. It's not about who the better player is a lot of the time.
It's reputation.
It's about the name.
So for reputation alone, I said Dan Hamhuis.
Yeah, looking at their numbers,
About the same.
I mean, it looks like Hamhuis is the better defender for sure. But he also makes like 4 times as much money. So
Hamhuis has a gold medal in Sochi.
There you go.
he was on the Canadian Olympic
he was.
team,
So was Chris Kunitz.
and they still won, like dominantly.
Did he play, though?
Wow.
They were dominant that tournament.
Yeah, I think
too.
he played over Subban.
Yes.
Well,
Yes, he did.
right hand, left hand, whatever.
You know,
whatever.
and actually, yeah, Subban coming off a Norris Trophy win did not.
Didn't matter. Didn't matter.
So,
Wow. So yeah, I picked Hamhuis. He's one of the more expensive guys on my team.
I pick Hamhuis too,
Remember when Phil Kessel led everybody in goals at the Sochi
and then
games?
didn't get to go to the World Cup. That
Yep.
was cool.
Yep.
Anyways,
Detroit.
Now, this was a team that left some pretty big names exposed.
Like Peter Mrazek.
Well, I mean, even Nicholas Kronwall, like, isn't that guy their captain?
Yep.
How many teams expose their captain?
He's 36 though,
Yeah,
and
Detroit-
his deal's
Detroit
up
did?
when he's 38.
I know. Detroit exposed their captain. I think Nashville exposed Mike Fisher as well.
If you pick Nicholas Kronwall and he retires, that cap counts.
Yeah. So, and
Oh wait, no, was
here's,
that signed against? No, it wasn't signed after 30.
here's another team that's got a bunch of centers. And I need centers badly. Do I take Darren Helm? Do I take Riley Shan?
Nope.
I mean, okay.
maybe.
I considered it because there's no way he's going to have a season like he did last year. There's absolutely no way. There's no way.
Steve, you're using the logic that you used for Calvin Pickard to not pick him.
Yeah.
Is
you're
your
right.
logic going to be,
You're right.
oh, is that as bad as it gets?
You're right.
For a guy that's got another year left on his deal. Now, it is 1 year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take Darren Helm, who's got a contract till 2021.
2021, or Luke Glendening, who's got one until 2021 somehow. How? Even though it's only 1.8. How?
Houseway.
I'm not Houseway. How? You ain't got the answers. Nicholas Kronwall until 2019. Why is Jonathan Eriksson making 4.25 until 2020?
It's a good question.
Who is this general manager, and why was I told he was good for so long? Who is this guy? And anyway, they leave Peter Mrazek exposed. I took Peter Mrazek. I'm probably going to try to flip him. So I have 5 goalies. I don't need 5 goalies. I'm probably going to try to flip Peter Mrazek. I don't know to who. And if I have to keep him, great.
And you'll only have to keep him for so long.
Right.
And here's the great thing. He's under control.
I have 2 of my 5 goalies. I have, and I will have no problem flipping them. Like, it won't bother me to get rid of either of them. He's one of them. And you'll see who the other is in a minute.
Jesse.
My 1-2 will be Fleury and Mrazek, unless I trade one of them. So there you go.
Yeah.
Same as me. And the reason I say Mrazek is this too. He's an RFA, so any team that gets him under control, right?
And his numbers suggest last season was the one-off.
Yes. And the season before that, it was like, wow, he's some brilliant numbers.
Every season before that.
But the other thing that Vegas can do with a Peter Mrazek, because it's a one-year deal, is they can retain salary. So if a team can't fit him under the cap right now, they might be able to later. So you call Chicago and you say, hey, I heard you lost Scott Darling.
Hey, there's an interesting one.
And we'll give you $2 million Peter Mrazek if you're going to take another run at this. You have to give us whatever.
That's an interesting one. I think Chicago might need to go even cheaper.
Probably.
But no, that is an interesting one, and salary retention in trades is going to be a big one. And you'll see that in a few teams. There's one team who I think more than anybody is watching this with bated breath because Vegas is about to decide how good or bad they're going to be next season.
Quick question before we go off Detroit. Did you guys read the reports about Peter Mrazek?
No.
So why do you protect 33-year-old Jimmy Howard with his bad contract
Yes.
Here, I'll Peter Mrazek?
Because Jimmy Howard's going to win the Vezina next year.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
There's
Who was
that.
injured
That is clearly
for
the
the
case.
majority of last season, wasn't he?
But there's
2018 Vezina winner.
also the fact that Peter Mrazek apparently has, according to what leaked out of Detroit, attitude issues.
Oh, great.
That's what they suggested. Now, even if that's the case, is Peter Mrazek not a guy? Like, are the attitude issues that bad?
So
and if they were that bad, would we not have heard of them by now?
So you're going to keep a 33-year-old goalie with a modified no-trade clause this upcoming season, making just a shade under $5.3 million for the next 2 seasons. Like, what were his numbers even last season? He was good. He was good. He had a 9.27 in 26 games. 9.06 the year before, 9.10 the year before, 9.10 the year before that. 9.23 was his last really good season, and that was the lockout shortened one.
Leafs had a good year that year, too.
I just don't get it, because even if they left Howard exposed, Vegas probably wouldn't take
No,
him.
would not take it.
No.
So why leave a guy that you could lose?
It's very clearly either sending a message or we want him gone.
Well, you couldn't have traded Mrazek. There's teams out there.
Calgary probably would have dealt with him.
Calgary might have dealt with him. You know who knows about goaltending issues and was probably like, you know what? He's probably less of a head case than our current guy. The Buffalo Sabres. That's the first thing I'm doing with the team that I've picked is I'm calling up the Buffalo Sabres and going, how can I get Peter Mrazek on your team or my other guy?
It's too bad Tim Murray's not there anymore because he'd wheel.
Who is their GM again? Botterill.
Yeah, Botterill. And Phil Housley's their coach.
That's right.
Okay.
Who's Bugner the coach of? Oh, yeah, the Panthers.
That's right.
Boy, a lot has happened over the last few days.
A lot of former NHL defensemen in places.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers.
Yes.
Edmonton
I went
Oilers.
off the board. I don't think you guys know who I picked.
Well, we don't, so why don't you tell us?
We literally don't, Steve.
So they got some pretty bad options here. Now, supposedly, Vegas has an opportunity to do a few teams a really, really big favor. Oilers are one of them. Supposedly, they've been speaking to Chris Russell's camp.
Oilers have?
Yes. No, Vegas.
Oh, because he's UFA.
Now,
but the Oilers also spoke to Chris Russell's camp, and we know that.
Right? Well, of course. He's an Oiler. If you're McPhee, you got to resist with every muscle in your body to sign a player in this window, unless it's one guy. There is one guy I would sign. Because it's wasting a pick. It's wasting it. You can take a player, a decent player, from every team in the league, and then you take your shot in free agency. That's the bonus. Mm-hmm. July 1 is fun day for you. You already picked what is probably going to be at least a competent NHL team. July 1st in the draft.
Never underestimate a team with good goaltending and good defense.
Oh!
Seriously.
All you need, I think the Habs have probably shown over the last few years, you need good goaltending and a couple guys who score. That's really all you need in this league, especially a cap league. Mm-hmm. Why? I just don't understand why you would take a guy like Chris Russell. Like let's go under the assumption that he's there aren't all the red flags that a lot of people have noted about him, there's still no point. Take someone from the Oilers and then get Chris Russell. And if he's off the table, go get someone like Chris Russell. You can't tell me he's so unbelievably exceptional and different from everyone else that it makes sense to take him.
But his name is Chris Russell.
I looked at Benoit Pouliot. I drafted him for my all-trade team. But
boy, that contract.
Yeah, he's a decent-ish player, but 2019, $4 million bucks. Not a center, so that doesn't really help me out in any way. Mark Fane, get out of my face. I'm not taking you. Griffin Reinhart, even though he's 23, Oilers, you need to sit in that mess. So my pick was Jujhar Khaira.
Why?
He makes $675,000. I hope I didn't butcher his name. I watched a bunch of his highlights last night so I can get used to it, but I still screwed it up.
Jujhar.
$675,000. He's still got 2 years left on his deal, and then he's still an RFA. 22 years old. He's big. His numbers are decent. I like him. I mean, I have no reason to pick someone expensive from Edmonton when I can just get this cheap guy who's probably not all that different from Benoit Pouliot.
Jesse.
I took first-round pick, 23-year-old center, Henrik Samuelsson.
That guy's a first-round pick? Who picked him?
Arizona.
Interesting.
Really?
In 2012. 27th overall.
How did Edmonton even get him?
He's an RFA, so try and sign him.
So I went super crazy on this one. I picked Griffin Reinhart.
Okay. Wow. Is this the first team where you all had a different guy?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay, sorry.
But I picked Griffin Reinhart, and I did it for this reason. First off, what Edmonton paid for Griffin Reinhart is hilarious.
Oh, my God.
So now they're getting nothing back. Also, he is 23 years old. He's 23 years old, and you can shelter him because you're going to have a strong defensive core.
He's going to be in the minors.
You think
he's not
so?
Playing on the NHL team.
You don't think so?
Oh, my God. Okay. We'll look at the defense I picked, and then we'll talk about if Griffin Reinhart makes that team.
Well, then
Griffin
if that's
Reinhart
the case,
barely makes my AHL
How
team.
many defensemen did you pick?
That's a
It
good
says at the
question.
top.
What does it say?
I only picked 9.
I had 10.
I picked 9.
I could have picked more.
And yeah, so
Do you
Griffin
think
Reinhart
he's
is
top 6.
the other thing with Griffin Reinhart is an RFA. So you can get him on a minor league deal if you can get him to agree to it. If not, then he can sit.
I mean, he doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
Like, I know where you were drafted. You stink. Like, you need to be better.
What I wanted to do with the Oilers is avoid too much money for not enough player. Right? And I just felt like they were one of the teams where I was like, okay, there's Pouliot and what? I'm not picking Fane. Pouliot seems like there's some player there.
Yeah.
But I think you have to put Pouliot with people to get that player. And I just didn't see that was going to be a possibility. So I picked Griffin Reinhart. I mean,
he's great with Connor McDavid, Pouliot. But this team has no centers.
I might be okay with Connor McDavid though.
One guy I'm surprised we picked 3 different people from the Oilers and none of us picked Laurent Brossoit. Because you talk about like a cheap potential future starter, like how you had Subban. Brossoit, maybe.
He's 24 though, and goalies hit their peak earlier than that.
Yeah, he's a little.
Like they start to
he's
hit.
Getting up there.
What do they say? Goalies peak between 23 and 25.
Is that what they say? Oh, I thought it was later.
Well, that's what the advanced numbers guys are saying.
Oh, I thought it was later. Because it's funny. There's a bunch of truths we were like broad stroke truths we were raised on. Defense peak when they're like 30, and goalies when they're 30. And is that actually true? Probably not. Yeah, your athletic peak is 30.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Things old guys say.
Yeah.
Things.
You know what? People peak when they're 42. It was the best year of my life. Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, now Florida Panthers were an easy one for me, but I don't know how about you guys.
They were an easy one for me until I changed my mind.
All right, what'd you go with?
I went with Jason Demers a bunch of times on every team that I picked, and last night I picked Jonathan Marchessault. 30 goals last year, 26 years old, so he's in the prime of his life. $750,000 under contract. Like, it's too good. It's too good. Jason Demers, like, his numbers are great. That's a good player. potential to be one of your best defensemen, if not your best. But he makes $4.5 million until 2021. Regression is going to come at some point. You would certainly have no trouble flipping him. I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas had some kind of deal in place where they take Demers and flip him to some other
Wouldn't
team.
shock me if
like
it was
him.
the Leafs. Apparently, they're very interested.
I think they should be, and the Leafs would be a much improved team. But if I'm Vegas, and I think Chris Johnson said it in his interview with Caroline Cameron this morning, or last night, I don't remember when it was, I take Jonathan Marchessault. They're going to have a hard time scoring goals. Why not take a goal scorer?
You're going to have a bad time.
Going to have a bad time. So I took Marchessault.
Same thing. Marchessault?
Marshmallow.
There's your first line center for next year. Because, I don't have any better centers on my team.
Yeah. No, you're... Boy.
So why not take the guy who's 26 and makes nothing and is going to be your first line center?
Now, that's going to be a really, really interesting thing if they end up making him the first line center. He had one really, really good season, but you throw him on a team that's not quite as good, and you don't just throw him on that team, you throw him right in the freaking deep end. That's going to be rough. It could also be Shipachyov.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I think he's 1-2 because Shipachyov is coming.
Yeah, well, it's like
basically
the Leafs.
confirmed.
They took turns having, who was first line center.
I also picked Marchessault, and I initially picked Demers as well.
Wow, I'm shocked.
But Marchessault, to me, I don't think Marchessault is a 30-goal scorer.
No?
I don't think he is. I don't know. I don't think he's a sustained 30-goal scorer. But even if he's a 20-goal scorer, if you can get your first or second line center to score 20 goals in the National Hockey League, you're laughing.
Dude, for $750,000 if you get 15 goals.
Exactly. And here's the thing. You can flip a guy like that for $750,000. You don't have to take anything back other than picks or prospects or whatever, because that is such a non-cap hit that a team looking for a center, and there will be teams looking for centers. This guy's a UFA at the end of the year. There's no guarantees he's going to re-sign. He's probably going to get paid too much. So you flip that guy, and you put him with some of the players that I picked to play on the top line wings, which we'll get to.
Yeah, looking at his hero chart there, again, not the be-all, end-all, he looks an awful lot like a second line center.
Yeah.
To me. For $750,000.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, but especially when centers in this league cost a premium.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, what's a second line center cost? 4.5? Not the average? 4.5, 5?
I think 4.5 might be discount.
So you're getting it at literally almost 10% of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Maybe 20.
Boy,
20%?
Demers is good. Well, we sort of talked about this in the elevator on the way up. There's a few teams that did really poorly in terms of no matter what, you're losing someone good. Everyone is losing someone. Not everyone is losing someone good or proven. Like the Leafs, for example, you lose Leipzig. He might be good, but he's not proven. He's still magic beans.
And it's not like you're hard up for talent up front.
Right. With Florida and a team that we'll get to 2 teams from now, you're guaranteed to be losing someone good. Almost guaranteed.
And Jonathan Marchessault last night did tell TVA Sports, TVA, that Dale Talon was unable to secure a deal with Las Vegas to make this happen, to protect him. Oh. So Marchessault probably 99% will be the guy that goes. I didn't want to say that till after we made our picks, but Marchessault said that to TVA, so he thinks he's going. Now that doesn't mean that George McPhee doesn't pull a fast one.
No.
But
okay,
Florida really wanted to keep him.
I'm going to try to look at this with rose-colored glasses for Florida. He was found money. That's a free wallet. And instead of losing a guy like Demers or someone else in your core, you're losing a guy who you thought was going to be like a depth center in your organization.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it sucks no matter what, but that's how I'm going to try to paint it if I'm them. That's how I'm going to sleep at night if I'm them. Because that hurts. That hurts a lot.
Absolutely it does. It sucks. Now, I think the next team is very interesting. The Los Angeles Kings. Mm-hmm. Now, first off, both of you are Las Vegas, okay? You're George McPhee.
No, I'm not.
The Los Angeles Kings come to you and say, listen, we need to get rid of either Gaborik or Dustin Brown. What can we give you to take them on?
All of it. All of it. Name a prospect in your organization Okay, create a list of prospects. Okay, now from that list, hand us the list. Plus all the picks. No, I don't need to. Why do that? Hey, you know who you can offer me as compensation? Braden McNabb. Oh, wait, I could just take him, you dafty. I'm going to just take him from you. I'm married to a Scottish woman. I'm just going to take Braden McNabb. He's a guy who, again, not going to put up a ton of goals, not going to put up a ton of assists, but wow, I didn't realize he was that good of a possession player.
I didn't either.
He looks like at least a second pairing defenseman. He's 26 years old, $1.7 million cap hit. You
can do worse.
I tell you what, you're going to have to give me like a first and a prospect if you want me to take Gaborik or Brown, and you're still going to have to give me McNabb in that deal. They're losing McNabb.
Yeah. So,
in my opinion.
Jesse, who did you pick?
Rob Scuderi.
Braden McNabb.
Okay, so here's I've been pretty confident in my pick so far. This is where I'm not confident in my pick.
Oh boy.
I looked at my team and I thought, okay, defense looks pretty good.
Oh boy. Who'd you pick?
And I thought, you know what? And I to be honest, I didn't look at Braden McNabb's possession numbers, and I regret that. Okay, so that was dumb.
Pretty unexpected. He also didn't play a lot of ice time though. So if you put him in a bigger role, will he have the same success? I doubt it because his numbers are so good.
I made a boo-boo though. Braden McNabb's the pick here.
Yeah.
But I picked Kyle Clifford.
What?
I picked Kyle Clifford.
Okay.
For this reason.
Okay.
Proven NHL centerman, $1.6 million till 2020.
Is he a center?
Yep. And I have...
He's listed as a center.
Yeah. Well, that's how I looked at it. He's a centerman. I don't have any. And he's $1.6 million. And really, how bad is that? Even if he's playing fourth line, that's still a pretty good deal.
Let me look up something with Kyle Clifford, because you know what? His possession numbers are not awful. His shot suppression is pretty good. I'm going to look at... Hockey Reference. Cap Friendly has him listed as a center. HockeyReference.com has him listed as a winger, and they're right to do so. Adam,
is it bad?
You want to take a stab at how many faceoffs Kyle Clifford took last year?
I'm gonna say more than. I'm gonna say between
as a center.
Center in the NHL.
Yeah, Cap Friendly. Like that. That's just a mistake on Cap Friendly's part.
50.
5.
Okay.
He took 5.
So the reason I took Kyle Clifford,
and lost 2.
So the reason I took Kyle Clifford is not even a real reason. So that sucks.
That's not your fault.
At 5:30
this morning, your fault.
When I was doing this, okay, so I made a boo-boo there. Braden McNabb's the guy to pick. Plus, if you really want a centerman, you could flip Braden McNabb for a centerman, considering what defensemen are going for.
Yeah. Kyle Clifford, though, $1.6 million until 2020. There's worse picks out there, but no, you're taking Braden McNabb.
If you were to take McNabb, does it screw up your minimum forwards in defense?
It does not. It does not. But I've already submitted my team for this, so it's like, well.
That was a tricky little thing.
Yeah.
That was real tricky.
I've been stuck at like 14 forwards, and I can't really flip it.
It's funny. Like, we got stuck on so many rules, and then when I actually sat down and made my team, the most difficult thing was the rules that I found out about like last week. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't even know they had to pick a minimum amount of forwards, minimum amount of defensemen.
Yep.
Goalies, have a certain amount of contracts.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff that tripped me up was the stuff I didn't even know about, and I think most people didn't even know about.
Well, and that's what's hilarious about the lists that are floating around out there going, all these players are unprotected. Well, yeah, most of them are UFA. Like,
yeah.
All these big names.
Nick Bonino. Well, you know, Pittsburgh does have a couple pretty crazy guys available.
We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah, but I mean...
Hey,
Flurry.
There's a debate about Minnesota Wild, which I think we need to get to, because...
So, is there like a deal in place?
With Minnesota?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard
that.
I've heard the same, but I've read the same, but I haven't seen any sort of confirmation in the way we've seen something for the Islanders or Columbus or Anaheim, right? Where it's like, here is a definitive version of what's going to happen. We do know that there are guys like Scandella, Dumba, the not good Gudbranson.
The other
Alexander Gudbranson. No, I'm kidding.
Bad Branson?
Bad Branson. I don't know that
Matt
it's actually
Branson.
bad. But also interestingly,
That's mean.
32-year-old Eric Stahl at $3.25 million.
Yeah.
Who's the centerman?
That was a very tough one for me. And I'm questioning my pick here.
What was your pick?
My pick was Matt Dumba. 22 years old, right-handed defenseman. How do I pass that up? Seriously, how do I pass that up? But damn, do I need centers. And Stahl is one, and for all the flack he gets, he's old, he's regressing. That contract's not bad, and his production's not bad.
Yes.
Possession's not bad.
Now let's remember something.
That's a good player.
Let's remember something
Still a good
here.
player.
Eric Stahl, when he was...
I'd say he's at least the second-line center.
When he was quote-unquote falling off a cliff in Carolina, was playing on a bad team.
Yep.
Eric Stahl then signed with a very good team.
In Minnesota, I would argue he's part of what made them good. Like center...
I'm just being devil's advocate here.
Sure.
And you're a team that is built for the future, right? Vegas is a team that is built for the future. So, and you're not the only one to suggest that Eric Stahl might be a good pick. Travis Yost also suggested the same thing. I would say you're asking me to pick a guy 10 years older than a right-handed defenseman who's already playing top 4 minutes in the NHL. Now, you can argue, Matt Dumba, Minnesota's not jacked about his development and about how far he's progressed. But even if this is as far as he's gone, what are we looking at here?
Well, yeah, sorry. I was going to let you finish and then show you this.
Even if it's not as good as they thought.
22.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, so if you put Dumba and Scandella next to each other, you could argue that down your list of guys you should pick from Minnesota, Dumba's third. There's an argument there.
There is, for sure.
So, yeah, and again, this is something that Vegas is going to get tripped up in, is magic beans. And in some ways, Dumba's magic beans. You're not picking him for the player he currently is.
No.
If you were picking him for the player he currently is, you wouldn't pick him. You're picking him for the player you think he's going to be. Now, Scandella, for the most part, below the little bar graph there on Own the Puck, they have kind of a little line graph showing their development.
Right.
Scandella went up and up and up, and now he's just kind of coasting, which makes sense because he's in his mid to late 20s. Yeah, he's at roughly his peak. He's at roughly what he's going to be. Dumba is kind of flatlining to going downward, really. So, damn. I think I can flip Matt Dumba, though. So that's real. I also think I can flip Eric Stahl.
But when you look at... This is my argument for this particular thing. This is why I picked Matt Dumba. If Adam Larson is worth Taylor Hall, Adam Larson was more of a set quantity, right?
Yeah.
But if that's the market... What can you get from Matt Dumba? And I would imagine the return on a 22-year-old right-handed defenseman who is magic beans for a lot of teams. That's something that they want.
And one thing that
how do you not pick him? Here's the other thing: Matt Dumba's numbers last year were not great. Right? They were not what people expected.
In 76 games, he had 11 goals, 23 assists for 34 points. I would say that's pretty good.
I'm talking advanced numbers. Sorry, yeah. Points are one thing.
He was a negative possession player. He was 48.7.
What happened in Minnesota?
What do you mean?
Well, they had a coaching change.
Oh.
Sometimes when you have a coaching change, coach doesn't work with you very well, or you just don't jive with the system. And Minnesota's a very, very good team. So I wonder if it was just okay, well, he's like oil and water with the coach. And I wonder, you look at some of the numbers under say Mike Babcock. And I'm not saying Bruce Boudreau is a slouch of a coach. He's not.
Right.
But you look at some of the improvements of the players that have been here through the Mike Babcock era, especially Nazem Kadri. Even Morgan Riley. I think
Bozak's a pretty good example.
Great example.
A lot of people thought he was a bum. And Babcock really salvaged that. I'm just looking at Dumba's numbers here on Hockey Reference.
His numbers?
Is Matt Numbers. Holy shit,
Matt's
Dad.
numbers.
Oh, my God. Okay, recovering, and I'm back.
Sorry.
So
this show has been super serial, by the way.
It's super serial. So when he was 19 years old, even though it was just 13 games, positive Corsi Rel. In his first real rookie season, 2.2 positive Corsi Rel, positive Corsi Rel the year before. This past season was his first negative one. The first year, his possession was negative to his teammates. So I just think they should pick Matt Dumba. He's also not a slam dunk to be the second coming. But these guys, these GMs, they're paid to watch the sport for a living. They're paid to make all these smart decisions. They get caught up in the ooh-ah factor a lot. Was Dumba not a first-round pick? I think he was a top 10 pick.
I think so.
He's got a boomer of a shot, and he hits guys. Like, he trucks guys. A little bit of Phaneuf. A little bit of young Phaneuf. Right-handed young Phaneuf. God, yeah, I think you go with Matt Dumba, but if you just talk about Vegas on the ice next season, I think they probably look better with Stahl.
Mm-hmm.
I take Matt Dumba, but Stahl, I think, makes them better.
I agree. Would you pick Stahl or Dumba? Or Scandella?
I pick Dumba.
Okay.
It's the obvious choice.
Yeah, I think to me it's
For 20 minutes, here's why it's not obvious. Jesse goes,
it's obvious. Man, if worst case scenario, you flip him for somebody that there's centermen out there, right? There's teams that if you need a centerman,
this is the
Dumba
point
can get you that.
So I think Minnesota's probably the worst prepared team for this
strangely.
expansion draft.
Strangely. They do some weird stuff over there. I guess we don't
really.
pay them enough attention.
I mean, they're good.
They are.
Good teams are going to lose good players, but Jesus. Like, you would have there are some teams where there's nothing. Nothing.
Buffalo.
I mean, Buffalo. Like, even if I lose my mind and decide not to take Stahl, Dumba, or Scandella, I could still walk away with, like, Chris Stewart.
Or former Marley, Alex Stalock.
Yeah, no.
Chris Nichols tweeted that we know that Montreal were trying to get Scandella or Jonas Brodin before the expansion list was filed.
Wow.
What is Bergevin doing? I'm so fascinated to see what the Habs look like next week.
And I want to talk about them, but I also want to talk about the Islanders because they seem to be another team that's in win now mode. So remember to help me bring that up.
I will.
So Montreal is the next team we have to talk about.
Yeah.
And what is I mean, Plekanec being available is interesting, but it's also not surprising.
No.
It's also $6 million.
Yeah, I
Do you
had
take
him
though?
I had him on my flip team, which is not my real team. Dude, 34 years old.
Do you take him and retain salary and flip him? Because do you like Plekanec at $3 million?
This was my thing, but again, I'm Vegas. Why do I have to do that? Okay, what's going to be more valuable to me? The return for Thomas Plekanec, and I'm paying $3 million for him not to play for me, or Charles Hudon.
Bingo. Who led their AHL squad in scoring
Now,
last year.
again, I desperately need a center, and like looking at his numbers, like Plekanec is still a player.
Yep.
That's still a decent player. You're going to be able to flip him, no problem. Especially if you wait till the deadline, you give him a ton of ice time. Or even you shelter his ice time. You let Shipachyov and Marchessault take on the heavies, and or you use Plekanec to ease Shipachyov into it, and then you draw him back a little bit. I just, like, Montreal was the team I alluded to earlier. They're the team watching this with bated breath the most. If Vegas takes Plekanec from them, what a huge relief that is for Montreal, a team that is desperately trying to add and win now. You lose Plekanec comes off the books. You can re-sign Radulov. You can go out and try and get Duchesne. You can get the defender you were thinking about.
Maybe a Shattenkirk.
Who the hell knows? $6 million is a lot of money. And if you lose Radulov, yeah, that sucks, but that gives you just even more space to go out and be, do whatever the hell you want. Now, if I'm McPhee, I got to go into situations going, okay, what makes my team better now? What makes my team better in the long run? And am I doing this team a favor? If the answer is yes, I probably shouldn't take this player. Even if he's good, I got to be able to get something out of this team. If they take Plekanec, they're doing Montreal such an enormous favor. I've seen three names. I've seen Plekanec,
And if I'm Vegas, I look at Radulov as a target.
Yeah.
He's a UFA though.
That's what I mean.
That's my problem.
No. I don't mean like pick him. I mean sign him.
Oh.
In free agency after July 1st. I think he's a guy. If you got Dadonov and Shipachyov already coming there, Radulov's a great goal scorer. Mm-hmm. You can pay him all the money he needs for a couple of years, and he solves a lot of your goal scoring issues.
You could have an all KHL power play.
You absolutely could. Absolutely.
So Radulov is an option, but there's 3 guys I've heard. Plekanec, Charles Hudon, and on defense, Brandon Davidson. He's 25, $1.425 million. RFA at the end of this upcoming season. Certainly not Emelin. Dear Jesus, who's, again, a free agent at the end of this year, but I took Charles Hudon. Davidson just doesn't impress me enough. There are other defensemen I can take. I really want to see what Hudon has to offer. 2 years left at 650 Gs, and he's at perfect throw him into the water age at 22. I could use Plekanec. I don't need to take him. I'm taking Hudon. As a Leaf fan, I really hope they take Hudon because I don't want to be dealing with him in the future, and I don't want to have to deal with a Habs team that just freed up $6 million.
Yep.
Because Bergevin wants to make moves.
Producer Jesse.
I did something a little different.
Oh.
I picked Charles Hudon. I believe it was the correct choice.
Ah, fair.
Yep.
I heard he's good.
He's okay.
I also picked Charlie Hudon. So we all picked the same guy. Is there a breaking news?
No, I got text.
Charles Hudon seems to me like the guy. He just seems like the guy.
That's the guy.
And you know, why not throw him in, right? Now, Nashville has got some very juicy prospects available. You got some centermen there. You know, you got Colton Sissons, who had a very good playoff. He's 23 years old, $625,000 for 2 more years.
Yeah.
Although his advance numbers were great in the regular season.
Yeah, so I was very surprised he was left unprotected, and then I looked and I'm like, boy, his possession numbers stink.
Yeah.
Nashville is a team sort of like Minnesota. You'd expect them to be better prepared, but they're good.
They have a lot of talent, man.
They're good. Yeah. This was another team. There's so many situations we've already come across, and we're only like halfway through the league, where it's like, damn it, I need a center. I need one. Craig Smith was on my first team. My first like true team.
It's
not
a
just
long
a flip
contract at a lot of money.
It's a long contract, but he's a pretty good possession player. He's 27, but that's young enough that contract isn't really going to suck at any point, probably. But I took James Neal. You're going to have such a hard time scoring goals. He scores goals. You can flip him. You can keep him. I'd take James Neal.
It was a choice between Neal and Wilson. I took Colin Wilson.
Wow. Interesting. Good pick.
That is
younger,
not the worst pick.
Contract's cheaper. Expires the year after. Always flip him.
Let me quickly look at his hero chart. Yay, let's see. Colin Wilson.
Oh, there you go.
You definitely consider taking Colin Wilson. It's pretty good. So that's him up against the second line center. He's obviously a good playmaker, good decent shot generator.
So up the middle, I got Marchessault and
player.
Wilson.
You could have center ice. Shipachyov, Marchessault, and Wilson. All of a sudden, you're not that weak at center, are you?
Yeah, no.
They need one guy, and that's why I think free agency is so big for them.
That's why you also think about Eric Stahl.
You think about Eric Stahl,
a stalwart, as they call him.
Like, what if Vegas? It's going to be so hard to talk him out of Pittsburgh, but like, all they need is like one Bonino or something like that, and I think that's a pretty decent team.
For me, this was a no-brainer, only because they're going to have problems scoring goals. James Neal's the guy, and I have a plan for center that I have not revealed yet. But I think I have it's not a great plan, but it's a good plan.
You don't want a problem with me, Kevin Durant.
I want a guy who can score goals. James Neal could score goals. He's going to be there for 1 more year. And hey, listen, chances are you're not making the playoffs. Again, I say, with Marc-Andre Fleury in net and the defense core that they're bound to have, they're going to look pretty damn good. I think they're going to be a lot better than people expect. However, if you could put James Neal in a position to be on the number 1 power play at all times. Like, imagine your top line looks like James Neal. Is Dadonov center? No.
Wing.
So you got James Neal. You've
Good
got
wing, though.
And I think Radulov's a guy that they go after hard. You got James Neal, Radulov, and Marchessault. That's a pretty dangerous looking combination, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well, you're not
and even
playing Marchessault at wing.
No, that's what I mean. Marchessault would be center. Neal's the left winger, and I think Radulov's right wing. Is he not?
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
I think so.
Like that is.
I mean, it all changes on the power
So,
play, but.
forgive me for saying this, but we've seen this in Toronto, the pump and dump, where you have a guy that has, like, with Dion, it was like, jack those numbers up, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do this, and then move him on. James Neal's a UFA. He's gone. That's $5 million off your book in a year, and he could probably score you 20, 25 goals before you trade him.
So, if I seemed a little distracted, that's because I was. I have Chris Johnson's Twitter open, and I guess George McPhee is speaking.
Oh.
Now, so what did he say yesterday? Yesterday was the deadline to make trades.
Yes.
Dirty, dirty liar. And I knew it from the moment he said it.
Is he announcing a trade?
Well, so Chris Johnson says, I got 2 tweets here. Vegas is still talking to a couple teams about trades related to the expansion draft. Next tweet. George McPhee says he has at least, and that's in quotes, George McPhee says he has at least 6 trades completed.
Whoa.
Not on the table, completed. At least 6. So first of all, wipe your ass with the team you got. And that's also second and third of all.
Okay. But hey, this is still fun.
Wow, is this going to be fun.
Still having fun.
I'm looking forward to Thursday's show, which might as well be this show. This show's a waste of time.
Somebody actually, Mario Tabassi, who listens to faithfully to every,
yeah.
he messaged me and he's like, "Is there any point in actually doing this?" And I'm
It's
like,
fun.
And he's like, "Your show will be out of date." I'm like, Mario, if that's something we were worried about, our show being out of date,
Well, first
we
of all,
would have
no, it's
stopped
not.
doing our show.
They're not going to announce this team until tomorrow night.
Well, no, but also
So-
our show's always out of date.
And yeah,
shit
it
always
is.
happens after our show's done.
We haven't gotten there yet, but Joe Smith says that the Lightning have a side deal in place to protect one of its young D. So we don't know who that is.
Which I assume is...
the young
eggplant.
New Jersey Devils.
Sorry, and we have one more. It's another George McPhee quote from Chris Johnson, so I guess he's speaking right now. We're going to have to move some defensemen because we're going to claim a bunch, which is something we'll get to once we're done picking this
Guess
team.
what? What's the most valuable commodity in the NHL right now?
D!
Fence.
I just wanted
One
to say
more
D.
quote. They're going to be calling some of the picks that they're going to be making tonight so that they can fly them out to Vegas for tomorrow. That's from Wyshynski.
So anybody that shows up at the NHL awards, you
Yeah,
can now
so-
basically assume that they're picked.
Twitter's going to be looking at the plane schedules to Vegas and seeing if any NHL players
So
get
if
on
Marcia's show just happens to be at the awards tomorrow night.
He's at the airport there in Vegas.
I wonder if he'll Marcia's show.
Oh, hey, you know that he's only 2 30-goal seasons away from being a top 100 NHL player of all time?
That's so amazing. I didn't Marcia know.
Jesus. I hate you a little, but I love that. All right. Next team. New Jersey Devils.
I'd say the odds of him not getting claimed are Marcia low.
You never know. You never know.
You never Marcia know.
Vegas may demurge.
Oh, instead of
demure.
defer?
Or defer.
I'm very...
Defer.
No,
Defer is what I mean.
You ruined
Defer.
it. It's dead.
No! I was trying.
Nope.
Okay, Vegas. Picking who in New Jersey? Who do you think?
This is my very off-the-board pick. So I looked at Mike Camilleri, who is still a frickin' player, at 35 years old, but he makes $5 million for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, whatever. You're
So, I looked at Devontae Smith-Pelly, RFA at the end of this year, only $1.3 million. His numbers kind of disappointed me, and I was looking forward to taking him. Ben Lovejoy, maybe consider, but probably not. So I went off the board. I went super off the board. You're going to need AHL depth in net. I picked Scot Wedgwood.
Former Canadian team superstar Scot Wedgwood.
Well, he missed a lot of last season. I think he needed shoulder surgery, but and I think he only played like a handful of games in the NHL, and he stunk last year. But I look at last year as a bit of a write-off. Let me pull up his numbers here. In the AHL, his save percentages go as follows. 886, boo. 889, 903, 933, and then 912 last year, but in only 10 games. I know it's not the greatest pick. I know he's 24 years old, and he's kind of at a what the hell are you stage. But I need that AHL depth. I don't need to be taken on your expensive contract. And there might be something there. You know, if a couple goalies get hurt, I can call him up to be the third, maybe have him as the fourth. I call up Scot Wedgwood.
Okay.
Or I claim Scot Wedgwood.
Producer Jesse.
Ooh, the Leafs are one of the teams still working on a potential trade with Vegas. Lou Lamoriello had travel issues.
Oh.
I can't call you about Lou while I'm flying.
Don't they have a private plane? What was the issue? Sorry, we can't find a place to land our private plane.
He had trouble finding Fish and Wyatt at the airport gift shop. He's going to make McPhee an offer he can't refuse. Hey, do you guys sell horse heads? Oh, I'm excited.
Jesse.
This was a situation where I got fucked by the numbers, so I had to take a forward.
Get fucked, said the numbers.
I had to go
Get
back and
fucked, Jesse.
take a forward just to get to 14, so I just went with Smith Pelly.
Okay. Good pick, I think.
Yeah. It was not a bad pick. RFA at the end of the next year, so $1.3 million is not bad. 25 years old.
Greg Wyshynski, McPhee said he may have signed some free agents already, but played coy. Interesting. Which I think we're about to get who... No, never mind. We're a few teams away from a free agent who I think he signed.
I went off the board and picked Luke Gazdic because they need... No, I'm kidding. I did not pick Luke Gazdic. I picked Bo Bennett. And the reason I picked Bo Bennett is...
Because you need someone to play 15 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in 60 games last year, he had 19 points. His defensive numbers are okay. He's okay. And guess what? What does he make? $725,000.
But he's also a guy you have to re-sign.
Yeah.
So if you pick him, you have to...
But you probably can re-sign him for less.
Yeah. Well, and Wedgwood's a guy you have to re-sign too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can sign him for nothing.
I looked at, Ben Lovejoy could be a good pick. Could be fine. Camilleri's definitely a good pick. But I just thought, you're going to have your guy that sits, and plays, you're right, 15, 20 games. I don't know. That's why I picked him. It's probably dumb. Probably should have gone with Camilleri. But again, I made all these picks at about 5 a.m. this morning. So some of them are bad. That might be 2 bad ones. New York Islanders.
They have a few younger guys you could choose to take too. The Islanders were one of the last ones I picked because we know there's a deal in place.
Yeah, so here's the deal. First pick goes to Vegas to take on Grabo's contract, which is LTIR, which is insured.
Yes.
So that means they're not paying for it themselves either. But they will also have to pick Kulemin.
No, so supposedly that's wrong.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah, so the initial report was that, and that would confuse me so much because Kulemin's contract is not good. And Grabo is obviously dead weight because of the injury. So it was a first-round pick that is not the first overall pick. Is that really enough to take Grabowski and Kulemin?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. So supposedly Arthur Staple issued a change to that. So I'm confused as to whether or not the deal is just we give you the first in Grabo and you take nobody, or we give you Grabo and a first and somebody else. Because the obvious pick to me is Calvin DeHaan.
Yeah.
26 years old, RFA. Hopefully you can lock him down cheap. Really good player. So I picked Ryan Strome, 23-year-old center, RFA at the end of this upcoming season, makes $2.5 million. Just because I assume there's something in place where they protect DeHaan. Mm-hmm. I think I even read it.
I picked Kulemin because I thought that they had to pick, because I had the old Arthur Staple report.
Yeah,
so my bad.
I had Kulemin for part of last night because I tweeted out, I read that article, and then I'm like, Kulemin's not in this article. They never mention him. He's in the headline, but he's not in the article. So, yeah, Islanders are a bit of a mystery, and they're a team that's definitely looking to make moves, too.
If I had my choice, it would be DeHaan, but I would imagine that, also, another guy that might be okay, other than, I think Strome's a good pick. I think that's who you go with. But Josh Bailey, I
considered him.
That's a guy that you kind of look at and go, all right, well, it's $3 million.
Brock Nelson.
It's a year at $3 million. Brock Nelson. There are some guys there that you can, so it's interchangeable. I picked Kulemin because I thought that was the deal.
They have there's a bunch of guys you could take. Thomas Hickey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a bunch of not great players available, but decent options, I would say. NHL players.
I don't know why the hell I picked Bo Bennett. Now that I think about it,
a lot of people are going to be like, "Why the hell did you pick Scot Wedgwood?"
Yeah,
they were one of those teams that just didn't have much available.
I should have picked.
And we're 2 teams away from the team I had actually the most trouble with.
Okay. So
I went with Ryan Strome because I picked the best guy.
Yeah. And you know what?
I don't know what the
we
deal
don't
is.
fucking know what the Islanders are. Rangers. Who would you have gone with if you got a clean slate? There's no deal in place here.
Super easy. A lot of people have Grabner, and that makes sense.
What's the deal? Is there a deal there?
Not that I know
deal.
of, no.
No, okay.
So he makes...
I thought you were implying that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't make that very clear.
He's coming off a fantastic season. Even a season with the Leafs, he played well. It's just putting the friggin' puck in the net was impossible. $1.65 million. Right winger, which I don't think we've drafted a whole ton of those. 29. So he's about as good as he's ever going to be. You could look at a younger, cheaper option like Matt Pemple, Brandon Peary even. And there's a few other guys. Kevin Klein if you want a veteran defender, but no thank you. I just went with Antti Ranta. He's the one goalie I've been beating the drum for a very long time, and I actually decided to take him. So for my team, I took 5 goalies. My goalies are Wedgwood, Fleury, who we haven't got to yet, but whatever, that's no secret. Mrazek, Ranta, and I think there's one more guy we haven't gotten to yet. Mm-hmm. Out of those 5 and the 4 that I named, you use your phones. You try to trade one of Mrazek or Ranta. Mm-hmm. You get to keep one. You're happy either way. You get value either way. You're fine.
Jesse.
$1 million.
I went with Ranta.
Me too.
It applies to my plan of picking 6 goalies and then just having a fire sale of goalies.
Yeah. He makes $1 million. Like,
yeah.
Mrazek, you might have to convince some teams. Ranta, Jesus, take him. It's $1 million.
Especially considering, he was a good reason why the Rangers really had a lot of points, because that November through December stretch, that was Antti Ranta.
We spent 3 podcasts talking about, is Ranta going to replace Lundqvist?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what a good backup goalie is, because he kind of fell back into the shadows after that. But if your guy sucks and or gets injured for a bit, you need a backup who can play 2 straight weeks.
How do we get Ranta to Toronto?
To Ranta?
You found the headline. Torranta. Oh, no. Oh. Some people are going to be anti that. But
they may say I'm Dumba.
Oh.
Wouldn't that have been a good deal to make instead of losing him for nothing to Vegas? Maybe you trade him to Toronto?
I don't see why they didn't.
Well, then Toronto would lose him.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
I'm actually...
he would still have to be exposed.
I'm surprised to go after him. He's Calgary.
Who's that?
Calgary.
Supposedly there were rumors, but Calgary, I think, wants to kind of shit or get off the pot with this whole starter thing. You think Ranta could maybe be a starter. You, in their minds, know Mike Smith can be a starter. I personally don't know that. I don't know if he can be a great starting goalie on a good team. He was a pretty good starting goalie on a bad team. Yeah, I'm making that face also.
I don't know about that deal. We'll talk about that deal later.
We will.
I'm going to get to that deal. Ottawa Senators have some interesting names, including Bobby Ryan, Clark MacArthur, Alexandre Burrows, Chris Neal, nope, Mark Mathot, Borkowski.
Borkowski?
Borkowski?
Borowicki?
Boricki. Not Borkowski, Boricki. And Jyrki Jokipaka, which is my favorite name in the NHL currently.
I picked someone who is not any of those people.
The Hamburglar?
No.
Oh.
So I considered Bobby Ryan. Mm-hmm. I considered him.
Hey, man.
$7.25 million cap hit. That part wasn't what bothered me. I think last year was a bit of a one-off for him in terms of bad production, and I think the playoffs proved that. He was real, real good. I think Bobby Ryan is closer to playoff Bobby Ryan than he is to regular season Bobby Ryan.
And remember, new coach? New system?
New coach. Yeah, there's all kinds of new things going on. The problem is 30 years old. Even if he lives up to the 7.25 next year, that's going downhill.
And
that's
it's still
a bad
2022.
So I don't need to take that. I'm certainly not taking a risk on Clark MacArthur. Probably not going to take Alex Burrows. I look on defense. A lot of people seem to think it's coming down to defense easily. Mark Mathot, 31 years old, 2 years left at 4.9. And Mark Borowicki, 27 years old, 1.1 for just this season. Here's the problem. Neither Mathot or Borowicki are that good. They're just not.
But they're warriors.
Mathot, didn't have a goal last year, which is hard to do when with 9 fingers. But he's just not that great of a defender. So the guy I took was Frederick Claesson.
Interesting.
Who I can't imagine a lot of people had picked, but RFA at the end of next year, 24 years old, and actually here, let me try to pull up his hero chart there. Jesse, are you going to put these in the video? That might kind of take you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
All of the no.
Yeah, no. People, look it up. Look it up. Dick around on the site. It's a fun site. ownthepuck.blogspot.ca. So I'm looking at Mark Mathot. Yeah, here. There's their side-by-side, and I'll just show you guys. Now, obviously, Claesson played way less than Mathot, but why would I take a defender, Adam? Why would I take a defender who's like not even that good for close to $5 million for 2 years? And he's in decline. I have no reason.
I'll tell you why I picked him.
So you picked Mathot.
I did.
Okay.
I picked him because of this.
Mathot?
I picked him because first off, Mark Mathot's going to play with a pretty strong defense core, right? If you're looking at my defense currently, you've got Dumba. I said Vatanen, probably not Vatanen. Colin Miller. There are a few other players that I haven't mentioned yet because I picked a lot of defense late. Mark Mathot has a reputation again, and for the same reason that I would take Dan Hamhuis, I would take Mark Mathot.
It's the name.
It's the name. You are picking the name, and he was a part of that Ottawa defense, that boring ass Ottawa defense that people fell in love with. Well, that general manager fell in love with because it was that 1-3-1.
Mark Mathot could be the captain of the Golden Knights.
I think he will be, actually. I actually do think... So he's a good guy. Fine. There's a lot of good guys. I picked him because I know that general managers really like Mark Mathot.
That's not what I would do, but it's good logic.
I'd flip him.
Good logic.
I'd flip him.
Jesse, who you got?
I think they need somebody who can really put a chokehold on the back end, who can lay a Superman punch to the competition. So I took Chris Weidman.
UFC humor.
And
I got that because I've interviewed him.
You need someone.
Adam's best friend.
I never heard of him before I started doing that interview.
The champion.
Meanest leg check in the league. You see, because Anderson Silva, spaghetti leg. It was awful.
So yeah.
So anyway.
27, $800,000. If you want to flip them at the deadline, you can.
I almost picked Jay McClement for the lulz, by the way. Just because, for
Jay
old times.
McClement?
No, we're in Carolina.
Oh.
For the same reason that Jesse picked Weidman, I almost picked Jay McClement just to say I did.
I picked Weidman because he's going to nail the competition.
Yeah. He'll get in the octagon for your team.
The team is in Vegas, you guys.
I can't wait for next show and Adam forgets the name of the guy that you claimed from Ottawa.
Yeah, really.
That guy. He's the champ.
He used to have the belt.
Conor Mayweather was his
Philadelphia
Floyd
Flyers.
McGregor.
Philadelphia Flyers. We still got a lot of teams to get through here.
Yeah, so this was the one team where I picked an unrestricted free agent. I looked at what they got. Matt Reed, not that impressed. Dale Weiss, certainly not. Michael Raffle, no. Colin McDonald, nah. Andrew McDonald, dear Jesus, no. Michael Del Zotto, you think of, but he's a UFA. The UFA I go with, he's listed as a center, but as we've found out, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. He's supposedly a hot commodity. Teams really want him. Jordan Wheel.
I too picked Jordan Wheel for the same reason.
Did I accidentally click off Jordan Wheel? Yes, I did.
I think he's the wheel deal.
Oh.
Now, you guys, how many contracts did you guys pick?
22.
I picked. Let me
What
look.
I had a bunch of RFAs. He's the only UFA.
Because I was scared to pick UFAs.
Well, you should be.
Yeah,
you shouldn't
'cause
pick
I
UFAs.
don't want to pick a guy who can just walk. It's because once you pick a UFA, it's up to him. It's no longer. He's not under your control at all. If he wants to leave, he can leave.
But like, I'm just looking at my other options, and I don't really care about any of the other ones. There's two guys I would really like from Philly, and that's Del Zotto and Wheel, and they both happen to be UFAs. Actually, you know who's both of their goalies are available. Steve Mason's a UFA, but Michael Neuwirth I think is someone they should consider.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, but that's only if they choose not to. Like, you know what they could do? You know what might be smart is you look at Detroit, you can take someone there who's going to help you down the middle. You look at New York and you can take Grabner and you do those things if instead of risking Jordan Wheel, you go to Philly and you get Michael Neuwirth and he's your backup.
Yep.
How many contracts are you at?
I picked, so I have 5 forwards that are not under contract, 2 defensemen that are not under contract, and 1 goalie that's not under contract for 2017-2018. So in total, I believe that adds up to 8, so I picked 22 contracts. Only one of those was the UFA, and it was Jordan Wheel. I just thought, you know what? Everybody else is under contract. I probably won't lose him because I can pretty much pay him more than anybody else. And I also think he is I think a guy like him, yes, Philly's an opportunity for him, but I think Vegas, for these guys, is going to be a big opportunity. It's a way to showcase your skills. So even if he wants to do a 1 or 2 year deal at maybe a little bit more than he's potentially what Philadelphia would pay him, there's an opportunity there for him to play some serious minutes.
He's only got 37 NHL games under his belt. He played 2 seasons ago. He played 10 games with LA and got nothing, and then 4 games with Philly and got nothing. But last season, 8 goals, 4 assists, 12 points in 23 games. Looking pretty good. And in the AHL, holy smokes. So in 2012, 2013, 33 points in 63 games. That's not impressive. But then 70 points in 76 games, 69 points, nice, in 73 games. And then last season, 47 points in 43 games. This guy is 25. He's, I would say, out of prospect age, but he's at just a young enough age where I'm still impressed by those AHL numbers. When a guy's like 30 and he's putting that up, then you go, okay, maybe not. So I take Jordan Wheel.
Pittsburgh Penguins, we already know.
Fleury.
I picked.
Who'd you pick?
I picked former Marlies 72-point scorer, TJ Brennan. Because you need somebody to play.
In Philly.
And on Philly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're serious?
Yeah, I picked TJ Brennan.
Yeah, why not?
$625,000, 28. Let him play in the minors. He scored 60 points last year. Why not?
He might get claimed on waivers if you try to send him down.
Yeah. My thing with Brennan is I watched him play in his own end. Boy.
But again, you need a power play specialist.
Yeah, every time you look at his numbers, you go, why? And then you watch him, you go, oh.
Yeah, I don't expect him to play a game for Vegas.
Well, then he's basically the same as Jordan Wheel. You know what I mean?
But, yeah.
No, I have no problem with that logic.
Contract was my thing.
Well, and we're going to get to why your logic there is not that bad.
Pittsburgh, we already know, blah, 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 blah. Marc-Andre Fleury, they're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? It's worth...
Trevor Daley's not bad.
Trevor Daley's not bad, but it's worthwhile mentioning, holy shit, Carl Hagelin's available?
Yeah.
I was a little bit surprised by that. But yeah, Fleury is the obvious pick.
San Jose Sharks had very few names on the list.
Oh, I disagree with that.
No, I'm like in terms of just amount of names.
Oh, yes.
Number of names.
Very few names, but the ones they had were pretty good.
Good names.
I saw some people tweet me that Aaron Dell was interesting, but he's a 28-year-old kind of goalie in the minors now. Up front, Michael Bodker, no thank you. Joel Ward. I mean, playoff Joel Ward is still playoff Joel Ward. I picked him on my flip team because I think you can flip Joel Ward no problem. UFA at the end of this upcoming season.
But Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton are available.
Yeah,
but they're UFA.
I mean, if you think you can sign those guys, but those guys are in win now mode. They want to win a cup. They're not going to Vegas. Some pretty good defenders available, though. Young Dylan DeMello. Paul Martin, contrary to popular belief, is not terrible. Brendan Dillon is okay. But then there's my pick, 30-year-old David Schlemko.
I picked the same guy.
$2.1 million until 2020. So that's a little rough. But
he'll be 29. No, it's not. He'll be 29. Or he'll be 33. 2.1?
I keep forgetting what year it is.
Yeah, he's okay.
Do you do that?
Yeah, man. That's not bad. 2020 is not that far away.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at him. Like 33, 2.1 million?
And I'm just looking at his numbers on Own the Puck. So I'm looking at him compared to like a second line defender. Oops, nope, that's second center. Second pair defender. Yeah, Schlemko's better than that, I would say.
That's pretty good.
I like him.
Stability.
I can put him on my second, third pair. Maybe
And
even
trade
sit him in the press box a few nights if I need to, or trade him. I think he's my pick.
I also picked Schlemko, but I was looking at DeMello's numbers. But never mind. It's not a good fit, I guess.
Why?
He's not worth it.
No?
It's nothing. He played 25 games last year in the NHL. Had 8 points.
You don't know what you have.
Yeah.
At least with Schlemko, you know.
Yeah.
But he's a guy on the Sharks where if they do lose a defender, which I think they're probably counting on, all of a sudden DeMello's minutes go up, and who knows, maybe he'll be good. Former Mississauga Steelhead.
St. Louis Blues. We're down to our last 5 teams here, gentlemen. Let's move as quickly as we can.
Yes.
You will not be able to pick, sadly, Ryan Reeves. I know that everybody had Ryan Reeves on their board.
What were they thinking?
But you can't have him.
Same with the Leafs and Matt Martin, let's be honest. But still, what were they thinking?
You can't have him.
You know who's a guy I think you look at on St. Louis? I didn't really consider him, but Jordan Bennington. He's an RFA right now, had a $600,000 cap hit last year. He's a 23-year-old goalie. You can definitely put him in the minors. I think a lot of people picked Nail Yakupov. Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to pick you're probably not going to pick a declining Carl Gunnarsson.
Yeah, he's broken. But if it was Carl Gunnarsson on the Leafs a couple years ago, he's pretty good.
Yeah, for a reason that we discussed many times, just a name, and I know I can trade him because I've seen him been traded a bunch of times. I picked David Perron. He's 29 years old, 1 year left on a $3.75 million contract. I know he can put up points. How many points? Great question, but I know he can put them up. I know I can trade him. David Perron.
I went with Yakupov.
Good idea.
Yakupov, I think, has the potential to be the better player, but what's amazing is in the NHL, you can get more in a trade for David Perron than you can for Nail Yakupov.
Crazy.
And we've seen it. We've seen it.
I would rather have Yakupov on my team for a couple of years.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with all the Russian players coming in.
Yeah.
May make him feel a little bit more at home. Put him in his happy place. And that matters, right? That does matter.
He's 23. You have a second line center or second line winger for like 4 years, hopefully.
Who you might even be able to play on the third line. Because the wings, I think you're going to be pretty strong on the wings if you're Vegas, right?
Well, and one thing everyone keeps mentioning is Vegas and partying and gambling and all that. Yakupov is not that guy. I'm pretty sure he's like a devout Muslim. He just I don't know. I'm confident he's not going to go out and go crazy.
Also, I think that's more to do with the person than the city, because that could happen in any city. If you live in Toronto, you could be a party animal. If you live in New York,
you can find drugs, you can find gambling anywhere. Like, no one has ever said that about Nashville. They made the Stanley Cup final.
Do they do fun stuff in Nashville?
A little bit.
Okay.
Some fun thing. Like the Rangers, the freaking Blackhawks have had 3 cups in 6 years. You can't get up to trouble in Chicago? Come on.
Yeah.
No,
that's a myth.
I took Perron as well. Same reason. Reputation. 29 years old. Contract's up at the end of the year. And if you have to retain, so what? If you retain to get him out the door, fine. You can retain on all these guys. It doesn't matter. Lightning. This is an interesting one because there are some interesting names here. I bet the Lightning are hoping that it's Jake Garrison.
Yeah, because that would be a huge relief on their cap, $4.6 million, but it's only this season. Mm-hmm. So the Lightning supposedly have a deal in place to protect their young defensemen. Mm-hmm. Is what
that report? Yeah.
Which one of you said that earlier in the show? Was that you?
Yeah.
And who was the report from?
I have to find it again.
Okay. Well, anyway, they have a few guys available. Andre Schuster is a guy you certainly consider. They just re-signed Peter Budaj yesterday.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
but I think that they probably expect he's not going to be taken. I mean, he's not a bad pick.
No. I think that was the right move to make. On Sportsnet.ca, report: Lightning make deal with Vegas to protect defense. Joe Smith, it looks like. TB Times _J Smith. Hearing TB Lightning has a side deal in place with Vegas to protect its young D. TB Lightning has some promising young forward prospects to deal from, and 2 second-round picks could unload some salary other way.
To me, it's...
so it would involve both protecting their young defenseman and unloading salary.
I don't know how to pronounce
That's how I read it.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Koekik? Kukuk. Sorry?
You wouldn't know that looking at it.
And Dotchin. I think those guys, they're high on Jake Dotchin. As dirty and terrible as a player as he, I hate him because I'm a Leaf fan.
I cheer for a team that employs Nazem Kadri. I took Jake Dotchin. Can't blow out Austin Matthews' knees when he's your teammate.
Right.
Can't hurt Kasperi Kapanen when he's your teammate. Mm-hmm. So I took Jake Dotchin. He's a good young player.
Good young player.
You got to re-sign him, so that sucks, but it's not going to be for a lot.
No.
Because he doesn't have much of a leg to stand on when it comes to negotiation.
And neither would Austin Matthews had he hit him on a different angle.
This guy over here breaking balls. So I took Jake Dotchin.
I went with JT Brown.
Oh, me too.
Really?
That's two of them.
Because you need...
No, I didn't.
You need
You were just sitting here saying you went
No, I didn't say I went with him. You could. I said you could. But I did not. I took JT Brown.
JT Brown, because you need someone to be really good at video games. Have you seen this about JT Brown? So supposedly he gets on Twitch and will play people at Call of Duty and stuff. And it's not just him screwing around. He's spectacularly good and will shoot you in the face and then teabag you.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because hand-eye coordination is a big thing in hockey.
Why don't more professional athletes have their little side business of being a Twitch streamer or running a podcast or something? Because they have so much free time in the off season, and all they do is just play a sport.
It's going to increase.
It's
going to increase.
Think, right?
Yeah, JT Brown's 26. Yeah,
I
don't know how much
Brown.
there is to do in Tampa.
Yeah.
But these guys are on the road all the time. I guarantee you play
video games they play.
Dude, NHL players are good at Call of Duty and stuff.
Even ping pong, they're fucking amazing.
Yeah, NHL players are all good at golf, ping pong, and video games.
Hand-eye, all hand-eye,
and soccer.
Yeah, because they sit around and kick it up.
That's right. And soccer, they're good at games.
Yeah,
they're good at games.
Weird.
I know.
So weird.
So weird. That's why whenever you hear he's a really smart guy, just because he graduated and got a degree, they genuinely think that. And they're right to, because they just sit around and get
people. He is a smart guy.
They just get wicked at games. So I had Dotchin. Who'd you have?
I had JT Brown. We both.
Wow, you both. I think is that the first time you guys both had one guy and I had someone else?
I don't know. We've
Anyway,
gone through 25 teams. I have no idea.
Sorry,
is it the first?
Is it?
All right, Toronto. Interestingly, most of the players available are UFA or RFA within the next year or so.
Mm-hmm.
The guy I picked.
Actually, every single player.
Oh, within the now.
Yeah.
They meant now.
This guy I picked is Steve Oleski. No, I'm kidding. Steve, who'd you pick?
Brendan Leipsic. And what's a shame, though, is I don't know if he makes Vegas. I don't know if he makes that team.
They're strong in the wing, man.
They don't need him.
They don't necessarily need him.
In the NHL.
But they won't be deep enough to there's going to be injuries. So I got to think Leipzig cracks the NHL somehow.
I think he gets Levoed next year, wherever he ends up.
Oh, you think?
Vegas or Toronto?
He is 23 already. And he needs a new contract too.
The Leafs are not high on him, or at least not the way they were. And I think that's because their prospect pool has gotten much, much deeper.
Now, do you take Kirby Reichel because he has some NHL experience, he's a little bit younger, and he's actually under contract this year?
That's what I did. I took the younger under contract Brendan Leipsic, which is Kirby Reichel.
Or do you... I bet Vegas could get Leipzig on a pretty decent contract because the poor guy, he probably just wants to freaking play.
Yeah.
Probably just wants to play in the NHL. I think 9 of the past 10 seasons, due to injury, he plays at least 10 games for the Leafs last year.
I'll tell you why I picked Leipzig.
Yeah?
Kirby
I picked Leipzig.
Reichel and his dad apparently had issues with the Columbus organization. I'm not kidding about this.
I know.
And NHL general managers are very sensitive to players and their parents.
Eh?
Yeah. So they're probably looking at this. It's not like it was a Lonzo Ball situation, right, where his dad's a psycho. I bet his dad was just like, "Can you play my kid? Your team sucks. Can you give him a shot?" Because Columbus did suck at that point. So Toronto's got Kirby Reichel, and he may be a better player than Leipzig. He may be the same player as Leipzig. The reason I picked Leipzig is because you can basically pay him what they paid him last year, which is $650 or whatever. And you don't have, you got a clean resume. It's just clean. Just a guy who comes in, he's a good soldier, he does his thing, and you never know in terms of, especially because they think that they're going to be trading a lot of guys at the deadline. basically all trades go through Vegas this season and next.
Well,
You're going to have to ice a team. You're going to have to put players on the ice. Brendan Leipzig, that might be his opportunity.
so I got something to read to you. I told you about some tweets, but there's actually a little bit extra context added to those. Was reading Renaud Lavoie's Twitter. So he said, so George McPhee confirmed he has half a dozen trades done so far, which I just said. Then he says he confirmed that some of the picks that are going to be announced are going to be traded the next day.
So he'll pick a guy, and they already know they'll trade him.
Yep.
So Marcia So could be Marcia Sowing, Marcia Salting, marching on. Sorry, I tried.
I couldn't even laugh at
Hey
that.
man, I can't swing. I can't hit 1,000, man. It's fucking. I mean, really. But yeah, I picked it. Literally, I see Kirby Reichel and Brendan Leipzig as the same things. I get Jesse's point. I think Jesse's point's valid about Kirby Reichel being younger and already under contract. That makes a lot of sense. I just thought, okay, well, he's got the bad reputation thing with his dad, although he's been great. I don't think you go wrong either way. I think there's 6 of one, half dozen of another. So I'm going with Brendan Leipzig just because. Quick
Sorry.
pee break.
Yeah, I was really thirsty there.
That's okay. Something new? Something happening?
Well, no, you made a really great point that I didn't consider. So, Tampa, with all those guys that we just mentioned, they have Sergachev.
Yeah.
Which
And
we
Dotchin.
haven't even talked about.
And
Dotchin. So it strange me, actually, a little bit, that they're making a deal to protect these young defenders.
You know why?
When they just have an embarrassment of them.
you know why? Because it's cheaper to protect those players and trade them later for something huge, given what defensemen are worth. I think.
Maybe.
Lesser
You
of
might
two
be right.
evils.
Well, and as we noted, they have assets. God, Yzerman is a good general manager, man.
He might be the Ken Holland that we thought Ken Holland was.
Yeah. No, that's... Holy shit, you nailed it. Yeah, Yzerman is like actual Ken Holland.
One of these days we're going to...
Wait, no. Yzerman is fantasy Ken Holland. Ken Holland is actual Ken Holland.
One day we're gonna actually focus in on the Detroit Red Wings, because I think the Detroit Red Wings are the new Vancouver Canucks. In terms of just it's all bad. Like there's not. What are the Detroit Red Wings? And what and what are they trying to do or
But
trying to
it's
be?
different because if you go 5 years earlier, you see a whole bunch of little Stanley Cups.
Yeah, like
So
at
everything-
least they won.
So
But
now
they could have
everything's
gotten
kind
out of
okay.
a lot of the situations they're in.
For sure. But at least they won.
Okay, you're right.
You
Fair,
know?
fair,
For
fair. Vancouver.
Speaking of the Canucks, this team is
picked Spezza.
extraordinarily...
Yeah.
Spezza.
Yeah.
Actually?
I didn't pick Spezza.
Oh. This team is extraordinarily well prepared for the expansion draft because they're bad. I picked Brendan Gaunce because I had to pick someone. That was basically it. Former first-round pick. He's listed as a center. 23 years old. Whatever.
I picked Reed Boucher.
For the same reason.
Yep.
I picked Spezza because I think you can trade him.
You can. You can.
Holy shit, is Jesse ever right?
Yeah. And in fact, I probably should have picked him. Because you could, again, retain salary. Who gives a shit? Lucas Spezza at 1 point, whatever 3, 6.5, 1.3 million? 2 point, no, it's
One.
math is hard.
Math is hard.
What's 3, 6.5? That is 2. Don't help. 1.8. Right?
I'm glad
I don't
because no,
It's
sorry,
1.8.
I'm so
don't know.
dehydrated that I
1 plus
can't even think.
1.8. No, that's 2.
It's
I don't
1.8
know.
Adam.
Okay. So Lucas Spezza at 1.8 isn't bad.
Andre Pedon's another guy you look at, maybe.
I picked Reed Boucher as well.
Boy, there's just nothing there. Like
No,
I
nothing going
tweeted
on.
this out. There's nothing there. Now, this is interesting.
The Capitals?
I'm realizing in picking my team that I shouted that Vegas should do a bunch of things, and then when I actually had to pick my team, I did none of those things.
So what did you think?
So for a long time, I said Grubauer. I said Pickard. Who else did I say? Who was the other goalie that I didn't take? Pickard.
You took Ranta.
I took Ranta.
I don't know.
Grubauer. Oh, Corpusalo was another guy. I did not take Grubauer.
I didn't either. Jesse?
Grubauer.
You took
6
Grubauer.
goalies. Trade them all.
There's nothing wrong with that logic.
Get a lot for goalies.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm finding? I'm not disagreeing with
No.
very many picks.
No.
I'm just like, I get that.
All of our strategies are good.
Yeah.
It just depends on what way they
Except
want
for
to
Bo
go.
Bennett. And Kyle Clifford and his 5 faceoffs. I think.
Well, that was just a mistake.
Yeah.
But I picked Nate Schmidt because he's awesome. Like he's a good 25-year-old defender who you can sign for cheap.
Honestly, I really didn't know who he was until we played him in the playoffs, and all of a sudden this kid comes in, and good Lord, I hope the Leafs, and no offense to Carl Alsner, because I've suggested this in the past, but the Carl Alsner I saw was not Carl Alsner.
Well, okay, so
And I
supposedly Vegas has spoken to him.
please sign him so
Have
the Leafs
you
don't.
fallen and bumped your head? Like, there's another perfect example of just take someone and then talk to the free agent. There's
Yeah.
going to be no other defenseman available. What's wrong with you?
Nate Schmidt's the guy.
Nate Schmidt is almost for sure the guy. And if you take Grubauer, good for you.
And what I like about Nate Schmidt is it really doesn't matter. I mean, yes, it matters how good he is, but he skates like the wind. And in today's NHL, mobile defensemen are in demand. So you can trade him or you can use him. You can use him. He's young enough that you can put him in as the older end of the window that you have created for yourself, I would think, in the next 3 to 5 years.
The Capitals have 15 forwards available and 10 defenders, along with 2 goalies. Holy
A lot of
shit.
UFAs, though.
A lot of UFAs, but they have a ton of guys available.
Like, dude, of the 10 forwards they have available, I believe 11 of them. Oh, sorry, of the
Very few guys under contract.
How many forwards did you say available? 15?
Yes. But that includes like TJ Oshie, who's a UFA.
11 of those are not under contract for this year, for this coming year.
Yeah. I picked Nate Schmidt.
Winnipeg Jets.
Holy smokes, we got one more team. So, 2 options here. Well, okay, you got a few guys. Sean Mathias would be decent. Do you consider Michael Hutchison? No, I don't think so. I picked Marco Dano. He's listed as a center. I don't know if he's an actual center in the NHL. RFA at the end of next season, only makes $850,000, 22 years old. He's had a decent career with the Jets. He's pinged around too much for a guy his age. It'd be good for him to get a little bit of stability and actually play well in Vegas. But you know who I kind of want to pick if I'm George McPhee? Toby Enstrom, because fuck you. Like, so he announced, or his agent announced, we wanted to stay unprotected as a favor to the Winnipeg Jets.
But then you're doing...
So please don't pick us, Vegas. So, by the way, you do realize that by doing the Jets of... Like, okay, I'm George McPhee. You do realize by doing the Jets a favor, you're fucking us. You know that, right? Guess what, asshole? Book your flight. Now, am I so spiteful that I'm going to take someone making $5.75 million instead of $850,000? Probably not. But Toby Enstrom's a decent defenseman. I'm waiting for this stupid page to load.
I think they probably
There's so
picked
many
him.
hockey websites that are like breaking today and this week. I take Marco Dano, but you should definitely consider Enstrom because A, he's good, and B, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who were the Jets able to protect because Toby Enstrom waived his no-trade clause?
I don't have the answer for you.
Who's
right
their
in front of
protected
me.
list? I want to know.
I have it in front of me.
Yeah?
I can read it off if you'd like.
Absolutely perfect. So and yeah, no, sorry. Read their whole list.
Brian Little, Adam Lowry, Andrew Kopp, Matthew Perreault, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Dustin Byfuglien, Tyler Myers, Jakob Trouba, Connor Hellebuck.
So, because you waived, the Jets were able to protect one of, well, I don't know who has the no-move clause there, but they had 3 guys, Byfuglien, Myers, and Trouba. Mm-hmm. So you were probably able to protect either Myers or Trouba because you waived.
Do you want to protect Myers?
Not really, but I'm just saying, as George McPhee, I'm doing my team a solid. Guess what, idiot?
Now I'm taking you.
Start looking at real estate on the Strip. Who's this guy's agent? Like, who else does he represent? I'm not a big fan of him, George McPhee.
So who did you take?
I took Marco Dano, but
Okay.
So did I.
I'm just saying, I can't believe they had the balls to be like, well, hey, please don't take us. I'm sure a bunch of players maybe behind closed doors, like Vegas, especially with like pending restricted free agents and pending free agents, they probably had to be like, would you? Would you sign with us, or is this a waste of time? And that's all fair. But the balls. I can't believe that they had the balls. The balls.
I took Michael Hutchison because I think you run with Fleury, Hutchison, and then Subban as your minor league starter. And then you trade.
Who would they start?
Out of who?
What do you mean?
Who's Winnipeg got? They've got
Connor
Palat.
Hellebuck.
Hellebuck and
Yeah, and you fuck them over if you take
Eric
Hutchison.
Comrie in the minors is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
That's what they said about Hutchison and Hellebuck. And
Well, no. Hellebuck might actually still be good. It's just that they threw him to the frickin' Wolves.
And it's $1.1 million. Who cares?
Anyway, but might be
my
better on a
backup.
team that's not the Jets.
I picked Marco Dano because I think he's a prospect to build. Wow, that was exhausting.
So there's our team.
What do we think about the Mike Smith trade? Just while we're here,
Oh, you don't want to talk about the team you got?
we just talked about
No,
it.
no. But now that
Overall,
that it's over?
oh, okay, sure. Well,
So I am just over the minimum cap hit.
are you?
Me too.
The minimum cap hit is $43.8 million. With my team, which is obviously a sham of a team because we like randomly pick guys from the Ducks and Isles, but I'm at $45.6 million.
Oh,
Now remember, you've got Clarkson
Yeah.
and Grabowski coming in there, so that's another $10 million.
But it doesn't affect me
No, it doesn't
because it's
matter.
not going to count against the cap.
Oh.
You got Shipachov, who makes 4.5.
Yeah.
Reed Duke is probably not even going to count because he's not going to make the team. There was that Czech guy, I can't remember his name. It sounds like he's going to be on your team.
Adam, how much you at?
Projected cap hit is $55.621 million. But, and this is why I picked my team this way, $20 million of that comes off the books this year, and within 2 years, $33 million comes off the books, if not one trade is made. That's why I kind of picked the way I did. You want to weaponize that, and this, I'm quoting James Myrtle on this one, you want to weaponize your cap space over the next couple of years.
Absolutely.
You want to be one-upped?
Oh, yeah, that's
Next off season, I have $57 million in cap space. And the year after that, I have $67 million.
How do I
And
find
then on
Oh,
view your
I
team
see.
at the bottom. And then the next year, I have no one signed.
Yeah, I've got 52 and then 66.
So, okay,
And then-
this upcoming season, projected cap space, $27.3 million. The following season, $61.9 million.
You beat us all.
I have
And in
$13 million committed to
Wow.
2 seasons.
What a dumb team. This
In
is great.
2020, how
I
many,
love it.
In 2020, how many guys you got?
In 2020. So, is that
2020,
2019, 20 or 2020?
2019, 2020.
I have, my cap hit is $2.1 million.
Mine is 8.75.
And it's David Schlemko. he's
Just one guy.
my only guy. He's my only guy under contract.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty goofy. So here's my team up front. Okay, the guys Vegas already has, the Czech guy whose name I forget, Vadim Chipachov and Reed Duke. Plus, James Neal, David Perron, Marcus Kruger, Lee Stempniak, Ryan Strome, William Karlsson, Hunter Shinkaruk, Marco Dano, Jonathan Marchessault, Juhar Kyra, Charles Hudon, Emerson Needham, Brendan Gauntz, Jordan Wheel, Brendan Leipzig, Alex Burmistrov. On defense, Dan Hamhuis, Matt Dumba, David Schlemko, Braden McNabb, Colin Miller, Mark Barberio, Frederick Clazen, Jake Dotchin, and Nate Schmidt. And in net,
Keep going.
And in net, Marc-Andre Fleury, Peter Mrazek, Antti Ranta, Linus Ullmark, and Scot Wedgwood. I hope to trade one of Mrazek or Ranta.
Not including Fleury, how many guys 30 and over do you have on your team?
Not including Fleury?
Not including 30. One.
I have 2.
Two.
Dan Hamhuis and Lee Stempniak.
You
That's it.
don't have Shumka?
Did I miss Schlemko? Oh, yeah, he's 30. Sorry, so I have 3.
I have 5.
5? Okay.
I'm okay with that. Tradable.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to trade one of Mrazek or Ranta. Now, here's the very interesting thing for Vegas, and this is probably why they're going to make so many trades. The forwards, there's some really unproven guys there, so that's different. But look at my 9 defenders, okay? Hamhuis, NHL defender, decent one. Matt Dumba, NHL defender, decent one. David Schlemko, NHL defender, decent one. Braden McNabb, NHL defender, decent one. Colin Miller, NHL defender, decent one. Mark Barberio, NHL defender, decent one. Frederick Claesson, kind of new at this. Jake Dotchin, kind of new at this. Nate Schmidt, NHL defender, decent one.
There's no room there.
Yeah.
You got to move guys.
Can, how many guys is Vegas going to have to bury next year? Well, the answer, since they have to build their team from scratch, is none, because they get to literally mold this thing out of nothing.
And they've got 6 trades.
Yeah, so they're going to have all these defenders. They have at least 6 trades, supposedly, and we don't even know what they are. It's amazing that they have a decor this good, considering...
When will the trades be announced on Thursday?
They said they'll announce them on Thursday.
They didn't say when?
We don't know what time.
Because my thinking is that we don't do a noon podcast on Thursday.
No, the fantasy draft's tomorrow, on Wednesday.
Yeah, but then he says he has a whole bunch of trades to announce on Thursday.
Oh, because they're doing it the next day.
Should we do a podcast Friday?
We either do it Friday or we do it Thursday night.
I'd say we do Friday.
Maybe Thursday night when it's fresh.
Yeah. Because it will be announced by then. It's just my worry is that it's like a West Coast feed and it'll be like 3 p.m., which is a noon their time. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do the show before those trades are announced. And I would imagine they announce those trades either at they usually do 10 or noon.
We'll talk. Keep an eye on our Twitters. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
doesn't matter.
We'll talk. We'll do what makes the most sense. Anyway, point is, they got a really good decor, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Pretty decent. And they got more guys than they need. Like the team I got, I think you got your 6 guys. You got a guy you can put in the press box. You got one guy you can put in the AHL who probably shouldn't even be in the AHL. And like a guy that you bury. There's going to be moves back there. And George McPhee confirmed it.
All right, so let's talk about some moves because we got to get to this stuff before we go.
Sorry.
Mike Smith to Calgary.
What was the deal? Again?
It's defensive prospect from the Flames that I can't remember. Brandon Hickey. Is it Hickey?
I think it was Hickey, yes.
And Chad Johnson. Arizona retains 25% of Smith's salary, which is still, he still makes a lot of money.
That's why I think it makes a little bit of sense.
But is Mike Smith really going to be the answer?
I don't think so. Well, now I'm wondering...
He's proven dependable. Those are the words being thrown around.
Well, so the interesting thing with Fleury is he waived his no move to go to Vegas.
Yes, but not his no trade. No, he's got a modified no trade.
Yeah, I think Calgary probably made a stab at him, and he probably said no. That's the only logical thing I have there. So Mike Smith is making $4.25 million for the next 2 seasons. He's 35 years old. Could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who's going to back him up. Mm-hmm. Because they actually have nobody. Well, looking at the guys they have in the minors, Mason McDonald, Tyler Parsons, Nick Schneider, David Rittich. I'm not familiar enough with the Flames prospects to know if any of them are any good. There's going to be a ton of cheap guys available. Supposedly Calgary had been in touch with the Rangers about Ranta, so maybe that still happens. Maybe Vegas takes Ranta, like I did, and Calgary goes, what do we got to do?
And then they have a tandem.
Yeah, Vegas should take the best player available because either he's the best player available for you or he's the most tradable, which I would have no problem trading Ranta. Shane
Doan, over a 10-minute meeting with management, was told that he's no longer captain and that they will not be offering him a deal, that Oliver Ekman-Larsson will be taken over.
Yep.
Now, there was a lot of talk on Twitter, as there always is, about how unclassy this was of the Arizona Coyotes and how, and Shane Doan did say in an interview that it was the owner's decision. It came right to the owner.
So it wasn't Chayka.
No. It was the owner.
Maybe Chayka convinced them.
I would imagine he did. But the owner, who is now the only owner, said, okay, time to move on here, guys. I can't say that I disagree with him.
No.
And I also, people are like, what a terrible way to treat him. They gave Doan an entire, what did they give him?
Didn't they give him every opportunity to leave?
They gave him every opportunity to leave and join a contender.
And
they offered him an office job.
Try to sign with one.
They offered him an office job. And if you're going to retire, they're going to give you an office job. I'm curious as to what organization ends a relationship any different than that.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't care that it's a hockey team. If it was a corporation like where we work and they wanted to get rid of me, it would be a 10-minute conversation.
They don't owe you anything.
Yeah, I'm not heartless here, but like, how many freaking moves have we seen where we go, it's a business? Shit or get off the pot. Like, he's 40 years old. He's going to be 41 in October. And we're crying over this guy? Are you kidding me? Like, look, Coyotes fans, I get it. He means a whole lot. 74 games, 6 goals, 21 assists, 27 points. Shit or get off the pot.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing there. It was time to move on. Hey, who the hell is going to sign him? There's my question.
I don't know. I guess they're going to look. Somebody suggested Toronto. I was like, why? Stop it.
Austin Matthews is from Arizona, Adam.
Oh, my God. Yeah, somebody was like, oh, well, Austin Matthews grew up a fan, so it has to be him. And I'm like, I don't think so.
He's shown incredible loyalty to the team. 1,540 games in the NHL. 55 playoff games. Now the Cup's your priority? Like, man, I got news for you. You're a great guy. Great leader. Probably should have made this decision a little sooner, bud. Like, it is a special thing, though, to stay with one team your entire career, which he did. His rookie season was with the Jets. Then the Jets moved. Played for the Phoenix Coyotes forever. The Phoenix Coyotes turned into the Arizona Coyotes. If you look at throughout NHL history, there's not a lot of guys who played their whole career with one team. It's a very rare thing, and especially played that many games with one team. Please do not be Mike Modano. Please do not be Daniel Alfredson. Shane Doan is definitely signing with the Red Wings.
Mm-hmm. Or Matt Sundin, who refused to waive his no-trade clause because he wanted to retire as a Leaf and then signed with the Canucks.
Boris Salming.
Well, Boria was pushed out because Toronto sucked.
No, I know, but I'm just saying guys who played with friggin' stupid Detroit.
Darryl Sittler played with Detroit, too.
It's always Detroit! Retire, dude. Retire. Go play with your kids.
Well, and Arizona offered him a job.
And they offered you a job.
Tell me what else that they need to do.
Yeah, like there's a little bit of ego going on here. But I said this before on the show. I saw it in action. Shane Doan is very nice to people. Very nice to the media. And the reaction to this is the fruit that being nice all those years has grown, Like he was really nice to reporters. They were willing to overlook all the dirty hits, all the things that a lot of fans of rival teams hated for years and years. They overlooked all of that. And these professionals who cover hockey for a living are crying over the spilt milk of a
40-year-old player.
Upcoming 40, going on 41-year-old player who put up 27 points last year. You want to know the value of being nice to media.
And I'm sorry, man. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is the captain of that team.
What are you doing? Yeah,
he's a leader.
What are you doing? Why didn't they ask the team? Maybe they don't know what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it was time to move on from Shane Doan. The Coyotes will never forget him. I think it would be a tragedy if he wasn't still involved with the team in some way. He should retire. He should take that office job. Be done with it. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Stop. But try telling a pro athlete that.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, I wonder...
win a cup in management.
Yeah, exactly.
Help bring a cup to Arizona. You can still do that.
And they can take the money that they were paying you, which was a lot, and they can bring somebody else in. Chris Johnson, of course, saying the Leafs are still one of the teams working on a potential trade with Vegas because Lou Lamoriello had travel issues. Lupul to Vegas?
Hopefully.
No.
I want to see him play.
Like, what deal would they do otherwise?
That's a really good question.
What deal do they need to do if they're not trying to dump salary?
Well, the rumor for the longest time was Eric Fair. Hey, they need a center.
They do.
He can play center. Now, if you're able to get a pick or one of the many wing prospects they have down there, like let's say, what if the Leafs go, look, we'll give you a guy who can definitely play in the NHL for you next year, and you can maybe even flip him. And we'll give you that 4th rounder we got from Pittsburgh. And we would really prefer to not give you Leipzig or Reichel. How about a Tobias Lindbergh? Can we give you that? How about a Trevor Moore? How about they have so many prospects on the wing. You could easily convince Vegas, here, we'll give you Fair and a prospect who still has a future, but is not quite Leipzig or Reichel.
I thought it was interesting that they protected Levo.
You know what, though? Leipzig is still Magic Beans. Like, when it comes to the NHL, he's still Magic Beans.
Yep.
Levo is... We've seen it. We've seen it. It's still crazy that he played as little as he did.
But what I mean is, maybe you protect Levo because you have seen it and because you do know, and you can then deal him and Fair.
Can you trade a protected player? That was a little confusing to me.
I think so. Why not? Like they select Fair, and then as part of selecting Fair, you give them Levo.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a little in Leafland. It's quiet, too quiet.
Well, Lamorello's there.
Yeah, he's there.
It was serious enough that he flew to Vegas. Now the awards are there.
Every GM should be in Vegas, just because that's where everything is happening right now. Every GM should have the next week booked to be in Vegas for this, and then go to Chicago for the draft.
Right.
Maybe go home, pick up some socks, and then go to Chicago. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Fair and something.
I think that's it, man.
I think that's it. Oh my God, Drouin.
Oh yeah. Hey, okay. Let me just throw this out there. I think they signed him to way too much money for a guy that has 55 points in one season, 95 career points total.
There
I said it.
I would often say that, but God, he looks good.
He does.
He looks good.
Who's he going to play with?
I think that's going to end up being a sweetheart deal. That's the problem. Who the hell is he going to play with? There's all this talk. They already got rid of Beaulieu after getting rid of Sergachev. So
and they're going to lose
Hudon. It looked
Hudon.
like Sergachev was probably going to make the team. Oh, you traded him. All right, well, maybe give Beaulieu some more minutes. Oh, you traded Beaulieu. So the Habs look like a jacked up version of the Marlies in some ways. Yeah. Wicked up the wings. I'm going to give them the advantage in goal. But you really need some centers badly.
Yeah.
And you could use some defense all of a sudden.
I think the team in win now mode most of all, and they're not win now Stanley Cup mode, they're just win enough mode, are the New York Islanders.
I think they're going to get Kovalchuk.
I think they are too.
They're crazy.
And
Snow is a madman. They're going to get Kovalchuk.
They know, because I think Tavares has told them, I'm not re-signing until you give me a real plan here.
Who's going to be the team that looks the most different after this week? I'm going to go with the Islanders.
I'm going to go with Montreal.
Oh, it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah, because they're just wild.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think the Canadians are going to win the Stanley Cup next year.
Whoa, I still like that. Dude, they might. They might. You always got a chance. You always got a chance when you got
Man, that
Carey
Drouin
Price.
deal, man. It's a lot. The reason I say, and there's going to be people who are like, well, he's got the skill set, he's got this, he's got that. I get that. I totally understand why. And also, if you trade for an RFA, they have all the cards. But that deal was worked out beforehand.
Now, and this is another example of Yzerman's brilliance. So you lose Drouin. That sucks. But you're in expansion draft hell. You get rid of a guy. You get someone spectacular in return who you don't have to protect.
Yeah.
Was that the right move for Montreal to make?
No.
Because now they lose potentially Hudon. But maybe you go, well, we have
and then they
Drouin.
gave
Who gives a
Beaulieu
crap
away
about Hudon?
for no reason. Unless they had to protect him.
Strange. I don't understand that.
And he was pumped to leave.
Wouldn't you be?
Yeah. Anyway, interesting what's going on in Montreal. I just think for a guy they're like, oh, we'll try him at center. Like,
it's funny. Like, we
God.
give the Leafs a hard time because they really treated some guys poorly last year. But when Montreal decides they're done with you, they're done with you. You're done. Like,
at least they trade you, though.
oh, I guess. Like, David Desharnais went from teacher's pet to chopped liver like that. Beaulieu, gone. Smith, Pelly, get out of here. Gouch, you're up.
Yeah. What will they get for him? I'm sure that's one of the deals
third.
that's locked in. No, Gouch, I think will go to Vegas
Really?
because Montreal needs defense.
I don't know if Vegas has anyone good enough for to be proper compensation for Gouch.
What if they get 2 defensemen?
It's going to be interesting seeing how many picks Vegas trades, like draft picks.
Yep.
Because if you're Montreal, that's an interesting basis for a trade. Okay, we'll give you Gouch for one of your defenders, but your defender is not quite good enough. Give us your second-round pick. Now, if you're Vegas, what the hell is your second-round pick? You're going to have 4 firsts.
Doesn't matter.
What if Montreal ends up with one of Vegas's firsts?
That'd be cool. Well, that's lottery protected. They're not trading that.
No. One of the first they get from another team.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Here, you're changing the battery?
Yeah.
I think we're done. It's 2:17, man.
Put a stick in it.
We've been going for 2.5 hours. My brain.
I'm just saying.
I can tell I'm not making sense.
I'm just saying, if I'm Vegas and I'm selecting a lot of defensemen, I'll overpay for Gouch. Why not? I'll pay you 2 defensemen. I'm gonna have too many.
Gouch wants an opportunity to play center.
You don't have any centers.
There's your shot.
I think this is over.
Yeah, we're done here.
All right,
We're
so
done.
we'll keep you in touch and when our next show's going to be because I want to know when that trade breakout is going to happen. Me too.
That was a tiring show.
Woo! It is.
This is going to be fun. I can't wait.
We'll see you in the next few days. We love you guys. Talk to you soon. We'll let you know when the next show's going to happen.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.